Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
me, Rob, and we got a special guest today.
What's up, guys? Oh, yeah, the Entertainah himself. Here he is. We told you guys.
Excited to be back. Sorry I missed it on Monday, but excited I'm here today.
Life happens, man. Life happens. That's the way it is. I do got to apologize to people up front, too, as well, because for some reason, it is not letting us stream to X/Twitter. I don't know what's going on there, but listen, guys, I've told you guys all along from the get-go, any of that might be kind of flipping over to a different platform. YouTube is the place to be. If you care about content creators, watch them on YouTube. It's the only one that actually wants to pay us.
X going to give it to you.
For you, no matter where you watch it. So
it's a good way to look at it. I don't even pay for the thing on Twitter, so I don't make a dime on Twitter. So yeah, YouTube's definitely better for the creators. That's for sure.
Yeah, YouTube is
always
been
live chat. I don't think you have a live chat on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. It's just a better. I feel like it's a better.
Twitter will not pop up here on the stream. Oh, that's only
okay. They can do that. Okay.
Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, and LinkedIn too. We've had people on LinkedIn randomly. Rob blows my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But yeah, we got a lot of news to go over here with you. We got kind of a lull going on right now in training camp, as the last 2 days has been a day off, and now today has been the pads came back off again, and they're basically just running around in their underwear, throwing the ball around, basically. So it's kind of boring, let's be honest. So we're gonna, yeah, I call it like it is. So we're gonna go over some news here, because again, there's been more players now talking to the media, giving different sound bites out, and I love getting that, because again, same as we talked about with Dable going and speaking to the media a couple of days ago, you can kind of read between the lines a little bit there and find some things out and kind of discover things and kind of really see where people's heads are at there. So it's always kind of interesting to do, as we put our Sigmund Freud hat on here and try to analyze and psychoanalyze them and ask them, how does that make them feel? So, and listen, there's a lot of guys we're going to talk about today, quite frankly. May need to speak to somebody while laying on a couch. I'm just saying. So we're going to talk about these guys here. Let's talk about the guy that isn't in that scenario. A guy that, quite frankly, for us was a surprise of the draft class last year. We weren't very high when we drafted him. We weren't very keen on the pick ourselves, me and Rob. But that balled out. And that's Dru Phillips, who, quite frankly, like I said, was one of the best pleasant surprises of last year for us there. We talked about he had LASIK surgery over the offseason, which we thought was kind of interesting, that it kind of broke out, and you know, he was kind of talking. I was almost waiting for him to say sponsored by and like give the name of his doctor or something, but like he announced it earlier. Didn't really talk too much about it, but he was asked about it here this week at training camp. He says, I was kind of blind before. I hated wearing contacts, and it was one of those things that made life a lot easier for me in that sense. I can see a whole lot better now, and the procedure was easy. It's like 15 minutes. It was quick. I slept for like 2 days, and I woke up. My eyes were great. First off, I feel like I need LASIK just to get 2 days of sleep. Like, I feel like that's a benefit that should be in the ad. Like,
I actually got LASIK, so I could speak from experience. It was
sleep for 2 days
years ago when I was like 19, 20 years old. But it was about 10 minutes for me. It was even shorter than 15 minutes, and it was about 2 days. Like you said. Yeah.
That's the thing.
What is that?
Did you sleep for 2 days afterwards? That's the key.
No, I did not. Unfortunately, I at least from what I recall, I think I slept a good deal the day of the surgery, but then it was pretty much normal after that. I was wearing the cataracts glasses to protect myself from the light for about 2 or 3 days, but I think it was a normal sleep schedule.
Okay. Yeah, the drops every 15 minutes, right?
Yeah, they put the drops in your eyes so you can't blink. Yeah, yeah. It's the weirdest feeling in the world, because you could actually feel them slicing your eye, but there's no pain involved. It's very weird.
Oh God, that does sound weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mother had LASIK surgery like 20 years ago. So
I would so flinch. I'd be that guy, like walking around like a pirate. My life. What happened? It was a LASIK incident. I got twitched. I had to sneeze. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, Anyway, he goes on, said, seeing the ball in the air, that was one of my biggest problems. That day goes back a long time ago, but especially this camp, I'm tracking the ball a lot better with the ball in the air. I can go attack more. I can just see the ball, so it helps me in there. And in outside life, like driving and stuff, it makes it a lot easier. I thought that part of it was kind of interesting because we talked about, again, the fact that he announced he had LASIKs earlier on in the year. But one of the biggest issues, obviously, the Giants defense as a whole had was not being able to play the whole takeaway and not getting interceptions. And as great as Dru Phillips was last year, that was one thing I would have loved to see a little more from him, just because we need to see it from somebody. We get him and Tyler Nubin both in there. They were great members as rookies of the secondary, but neither one of them are getting any picks whatsoever. I mean, Darius Muasau literally had like 100% of the team's interceptions for the first 9 weeks, it felt like, or something like that.
Yeah,
and
he had one, which was 100. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen it not get that many get that little bit of interceptions, and that's it. So it's I didn't think of it from that perspective. It's kind of like what they talk about with baseball. You talk about batters all the time, like, I need to see the ball, my eyes need to be perfect, I need to go ahead and see and track the ball at that point. It's the same thing for secondary guys. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Yeah. So he also talked about it from a perspective of him as a prospect. So we're going back to his days at Kentucky and all. He said, there's a lot of talk before I got drafted with the people upstairs. It was one of the things that they were like, you can't see. They were the only team that cared about it. It's one of the things I'm glad they pointed out, because I probably still wouldn't have had it if no one said anything, but it helped me out on everyday basis. So it's interesting. So he's saying basically while he was going in for the draft, and keep in mind, obviously, guys, that there's medical tests done like crazy in these kids. They don't just go, you're healthy. Okay, we take your word at that. Like they're checking everything out. You think it's bad when you get a new job and you got to go cough and pee in a cup and everything. Like, this is nothing compared to what you do at that point. Absolutely nothing compared to what they do to get into the NFL. They're giving over every single possible test. They're getting whole body x-rays for no apparent reason and everything. They're doing like echocardiograms and everything. Like, these guys, it's millions of dollars you're giving these people. You want to make sure that they're fully healthy.
Big investment.
Yeah.
Not just the physical testing. Of course, they do the whatever the terminology is. I forgot what the name of the IQ test for the players.
The Wonderlic test and all that stuff. Yeah, all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah. But it was interesting that they were bringing it up to him, and I like the fact that the Giants were a team that at least brought it up as like, hey, we could probably fix this. But it also tells you how bad his eyesight must have been if they're pointing it out in the draft process. That means like his eyesight wasn't like, you're 18-20. If we do this, you could be 20-20. Like, no, they got to be like, dude, you're blind as bad. You should get LASIK.
20.
Yeah, that's crazy that he wouldn't have gotten that corrected sooner. He got paid. He was a rookie. He had enough money to get LASIK surgery last year when he got his shot. That's crazy that he would have waited a year. As you were talking about the baseball football thing, I was thinking about it. Obviously, I think it's probably more important in baseball because of how quick the ball gets to the plate. You have to be able to read the pitch immediately, whether it's a curveball, slider. Like, vision is imperative when it comes to baseball at the plate. But thinking about it from the perspective of a cornerback, one of the most important things a cornerback needs to do when he's dropping back in coverage is reading the eyes of the quarterback. That requires good vision when you're 20, 30 yards away, being able to read, where the quarterback's looking. So it's crazy that he had really poor vision. And hopefully that does help him, get a couple interceptions.
You bring up like just the eye vision, like to see where the quarterback's looking at. But like, you're talking 20, 30 yards down the field. Some people can't see or make out the quarterback with their eyesight. So like, you don't even know if he's standing to the left or right. So you're always on guard. Like, you could be making a better play by getting off the coverage or getting, switching the way you're running your route.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, by the way, good news. We were back up on Twitter. Somehow it just popped up on Twitter on its own. I don't know how. So welcome to Twitter, people. So
welcome to X-Man.
But yeah, it's even jump ball scenarios. As a corner, jump ball scenarios are huge. And especially, let's be honest, Dru Phillips is not exactly the large physical corner. So it's like you're already giving up height sometimes to some of these receivers. If you have issues with seeing the ball as well, on top of the height issues, that's not a good scenario to be in. So I'm really curious to see how much that helps him out there. He said, talking about it last year with the issues with it, he says, there were times last year I was just playing with my head on fire. Like, I don't know, I was just running to the ball. Throughout the whole last season, I had my ups and downs. I learned and built off that coming into this year. I feel like I've taken a step and I've seen a lot more. So now when I go into practice, it's not like I don't, like, I know what's probably going to come. The scenario is third and short from third and long. Like, I can play ball instead of guessing now. It took time, but definitely towards the end of the season, I was like, okay, if they come out in extra tight ends or third and long condensed, all that type of stuff. So it's, I'm really hopeful for this kid, like even more knowing this kind of stuff. Like that's how bad your eyes were that people told you you're blind as a bat before you even stepped in the damn field. And then on top of that, the natural progression, as he mentions, the learning process that everybody goes through when they go into the NFL. Because it's funny how people think you step up into the NFL like, oh, I did this in college. It's the same thing. No, it's not.
No, apples and oranges. Jaxson Dart found that out his first pass in training camp.
Oh, he found that out real quick. Yeah. Found it out a second day in training camp as well. So I mean, yeah. Like I said, I'm excited for Phillips, and like I said, we were not too high on him again when we picked him. Rob and I were very happy to be wrong on him whatsoever. I still 100%, think that this kid definitely hasn't reached the potential of what he could be. Because if you look at his movements in college compared to what it was that first year, Jerome Henderson, again, I know he's not with us anymore, but I have to go ahead and also say that he got a ton of work in with Jerome Henderson at that point and fixed, I thought, some of the hip issues he had in Kentucky really quickly on. So again, you get the credit to Henderson for teaching it. You give the credit to Phillips also for going ahead and, taking in those lessons and learning that quickly there. It shows a lot on who he is as a player and the kind of, the desire he has to excel at his position. So, good situation all around, I think, with him.
Yeah, I'm excited for him. Like you said, I think he was one of the biggest surprises, probably the biggest surprise from last year's draft class. A lot of Giants fans hated that pick when they made it. I remember it got bad reviews on Twitter. He was really physical. That's the one thing that really stood out to me, at least early on in the year. He was really physical. He had a good nose for the ball. Obviously, no interceptions, and we hope that we see more of that this year, not just from him, but from the entire secondary. But you would think with the improved secondary, with some of the acquisitions we brought in free agency, that will only help players like him and Deontay Banks, who we're all really excited about this year, and hope that he could take a big step up as well. But yeah, I'm excited about him. I think most Giant fans are very happy with last year's draft class, and he is one of the biggest reasons for that.
Yeah,
along with, of course, Malik Neighbors. Yeah, I could talk about for hours. But
yeah, we could do a whole show. We probably have a whole show on him. Absolute freak of nature. I love it. Love it. It's like OBJ without kicking nets and getting into random fights with corners.
The thing with Neighbors, man, and I know we want to talk about some other stuff, but the thing with Neighbors because I knew anybody with like eyes knew how talented he was before he was even a Giant when he was at LSU. When you watch the pre-draft process, like he was arguably the most talented player in that draft. I mean, Marvin Harrison and him probably neck and neck outside of the quarterback position. But the thing that's really impressed me has been his off the field stuff. Everybody talked about going into the draft process that they were worried that his personality wouldn't gel well in New York. I think he's handled the media beautifully. Like, he's come across as himself. He's not like a robot, but I think he's come across respectable too. Like a pleasant surprise for me. I didn't know much about him from a media perspective, but you heard all the red flags about him coming in, and people were concerned with that. I've actually that's been the biggest surprise for me with Malik Neighbors. I knew the talent was there, and I'm not saying I expect him to be a deterrent off the field, but I think he's been one of the best guys in terms of dealing with the media, which is really impressive for a player as young as he is.
Yeah,
no, without a doubt. Because I remember seeing back, I think about this time a year ago, everyone was giving him stuff because he was spotted in a New York strip club, just with a big wad of cash going out. And I was like, oh, great, this could go one or two ways. He's 20, he's just doing what any 20-year-old does when he gets paid.
We've all been there.
I did it.
Yeah,
18, 21 were the big ones, but you know what? If you just signed to the NFL, I probably would have done the same thing at that age.
Say you did. I'm calling BS on you, Rob.
No, I said I definitely did. It was 18-21.
Yeah,
I just didn't do it at 20 because I think it's signed by the NFL. There's a difference.
Yeah.
But
sure. I know better.
But but you can look at that from that side. Like, all right, so he goes to a strip club. He's got probably $1,000 worth of singles up there. He's either going to be a maniac off the field, or he's just doing what a 20-year-old does. And Buckley was just someone that was 20 years old celebrating.
Yeah,
but you can take it and look at it like that's a guy that's going to go out and cause troubles. He's going to party. He could be the next the Browns quarterback, Manziel.
Oh, Johnny Manziel. Yeah.
I think he's just. I think he does need some fine tuning on some of the things he says at times, but I think he takes the leadership role about being the guy to go ahead and talk to the media. And you can take it as one of two ways of him, again, feeling like that's part of the leadership role, or you can take it as him wanting the spotlight. And I think it's probably a combination of both, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and to me, he comes across very authentic. Like, I loved Saquon. I don't love him now because he's an Eagle, but I love Saquon as a Giant. But at times, Saquon kind of felt like almost like a politician. Like, at time when he would talk with the media, with Neighbors, I get the feeling that he's himself. And he still comes across, in my opinion, at least, as a respectable guy and a guy that's a good teammate. So I've been very pleasantly surprised from that aspect. On the field, I knew what we were getting. I think he's the most talented receiver in the league. I mean, if not, he's top 2 or 3. The guy, last year he had 4 different quarterbacks. I think he's going to have 1,500 plus yards this year, easy, if he stays healthy. So I am so excited about Malik Neighbors, and he's looked terrific in camp. And I saw the video today. Again, some off the field stuff I'm impressed by. Jaylen Hyatt, he's doing reps off the field with Jaylen Hyatt, trying to help him get his breakaways, his break off the line of scrimmage. So you just love to see that a player that young acting as a mentor this early on in his career. So I'm a huge fan of Malik Neighbors. That's a slam dunk pick for the Giants.
Yeah, we talked about yesterday too how he literally stepped up to Dart at the basketball game they had at Russell Wilson's house in San Diego just to kind of see what he had in him. Again, that's a leadership thing. He's trying to find out what he's got. Like, do I need to teach this kid how to be this, or does he got it naturally? Like I said, I think people are already reading him wrong though, and I think he's going to unfortunately deal with a lot of that in New York. So you're going to see already people, we'll give it a couple years and he'll demand a trade or he'll demand this or whatever. I don't think he's that guy. I think he'll demand money, but I also think he's going to deserve the money.
As long as you're getting him the ball, I think he'll be happy.
Yeah,
he'll want his money, of course, but as long as he's getting the ball, I think he'll be happy.
He's definitely writing the sequel to Keyshawn's book. That's for sure. As long as Wayne Corbett doesn't come around, we're good to go. So, the name I haven't had in years, Wayne Corbett. All right, guys, let's talk about the aforementioned Jaylen Hyatt over here because we got to talk about an article that I read here where Ed Valentine at Big Blue View got the chance to sit down and talk to Jaylen Hyatt and got a lot of thoughts on him. He gave him a lot of time, and I give kudos to him on that because, let's be honest, he's been kind of an up and down career, to put it nicely, with the Giants.
Down and down.
Yeah. I was trying to be nice. Mid and down. The year wasn't so bad. Minus the fact that, he still hasn't gotten into the end zone. We literally had that conversation yesterday, and it's sad this was a topic we literally had. We're talking about how Elijah Chapman is taking reps as fullback, and we were joking around saying, who's going to score their first touchdown, Elijah Chapman or Jaylen Hyatt? Like, that's a legit.
Andrew Thomas scored a touchdown before Kadarius Toney and Kenny Golladay, so
yeah,
it's not a hard question.
It's a legit question. So he was asked about, though, this offseason. He said about how his work ethic and when he started going right back into work at the offseason. He said, every day, right after we got done from the season, I went to training. There were no breaks, just every day, getting with my chef, getting the right calories every day, staying in the weight room every day, working. This is before training for the OTAs, before training for training camp. I got on it right at the end of the season. So that's key right there for him. I like that he understands the situation he's in. That's for sure. He says consistent on the field was always the same, but as far as consistent in the weight room, that's something I've done different. It was every day. I didn't go on vacation this year, strictly football. Like I said, he sees the boat he's in, guys. This is year 3 for the guy after not even hitting 200 yards his second year in the NFL here. And again, not even scoring a single touchdown in both years. Now, this is that year. You're going to make it or you're going to break it. And I know it's kind of cliche that people say all the time, but I'll tell you, whenever you look at the progression of players, year 3 is typically the year that you know what you got.
Yeah, I think that's the year where Andrew Thomas really started. I mean, he got better year 2, but he really took that big leap year 3. Dexter Lawrence, kind of a similar trajectory. He was good, but he started to really ascend when he got to year 3. So I agree. We need to see something out of Jaylen Hyatt this year. The thing is, and I don't want to sound negative, and I hope he lights the world on fire. How much do the Giants really believe in Jaylen Hyatt? That's what I ask myself, because the plan when they drafted Jaylen Hyatt, in my opinion, at least, was clearly he's going to replace Darius Slayton long term. We're drafting this guy to replace Darius Slayton long term. Lo and behold, Darius Slayton becomes a free agent this year. They give him a 3-year deal, $12 million a year. That to me signified we're not sold on Jaylen Hyatt anymore at this point. Now things can change, and he's in a much better situation than he's ever been. Right? I'm not trying to rag on Daniel Jones. I'm sure all the Giants podcasts are doing that at this point. He's with the Colts. I wish him nothing but the best. But let's be real. Russell Wilson is a much better deep thrower of the football than Daniel Jones is. That's pretty much his strength. He throws a beautiful deep ball. The way that it just drops into the bucket, you would think that if Jaylen Hyatt could be good at one thing, it would be that, with his straight line speed. So I think he's in a much better situation than he's been before. I just don't know how much the targets will be there after they paid Darius Slayton, Malik Neighbors, Theo Johnson. Obviously, we've got some guys in the backfield. Skattebo, who I know we're going to talk about in a bit. Tracy, a former wide receiver in his own right who could catch the ball. So I just don't know how much of an opportunity will be there for Jaylen Hyatt. But we all know as Giants fans, injuries come often with this team. So I'm sure at some point this year he'll get an opportunity.
Yeah, and I think his best case, to be very honest, is kind of what, you mentioned Slayton. What Slayton was a couple of years ago. Slayton was never the guy getting 10, 12 catches a game.
Yeah.
He was the guy going for 3 catches for 65 yards.
Yeah, maybe breaking 100.
Yeah, like that's the kind of hope that Hyatt has to have. Now, like you said, he's had a lot of downs there. They talk about handling adversity. He said it's definitely, I think, adversity, and I've been through adversity before. My sophomore year in Tennessee, I feel like I've been going through adversity since being here, year 1, year 2, and now going to year 3. But I think as far as with that, you can make the most of it. I kind of hate that he says year 1 was adversity for him.
Yeah,
like that shouldn't have been adverse. Like, again, 3rd round pick. I know some people had him as a 2nd round pick. There's even some people talking about late 1st round for him when he was coming in the draft.
I remember there were mocks at least maybe with a month before the draft that had him as a late 1st round.
Yeah.
Pick. Yeah.
And it was all craziness when it happened, because Rob and I said from the get-go, and I think we've been proven right what we said. He's a one-trick pony with speed. That's what he is. He's a 9-route guy that you're just going to try to outrun the corner. He can't get off the press. He doesn't do a lot of the routes to the NFL. He played a non-NFL system in Tennessee. It is what it is. Like, it's not knocking him. It's the honest truth of what the situation is. I do think there's potentially a role for him. But for him to go in year 1 and look at that and say adversity, like, that wasn't a bad rookie year. That it makes me wonder kind of where he's at, like, in his head. Like, was he expecting to light the world on fire, and did he get so?
In fairness, thinking about it from his perspective, and I agree with you. I think what he did in his rookie year as a fan is probably what you should have expected. He was a 3rd round pick. You don't really expect a 3rd round pick to make an immediate impact. We've been fooled before as Giants fans with guys like Ramses Barden. But for him, former Biletnikoff winner, that goes to the best wide receiver in collegiate football. He won that year. You look at some of the other winners, Devontae Smith, like all the other guys have been tremendously successful in recent years that have won that award. So thinking about it from that perspective, from his perspective, he may not have thought he was going to come out and have a Malik Neighbors like rookie season, but he probably expected he was going to do more than what he did. But I agree. I wouldn't say it was a success his rookie year, but I didn't view it as a bad rookie year based off what I thought were realistic expectations for a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, I mean, 373 yards. I mean, again, that's not lighting the world on fire, like you said, and you're 100% right there. But if he thinks that's bad, he needs to talk to Charlie Ward, who won the Heisman Trophy and never even saw the NFL and had to play for the Knicks instead. I mean, it could be worse. It could be worse.
I take it you don't like to think with that comment.
No, honestly. Here's the funny thing is I don't even watch anything of basketball whatsoever. I just remember that from my young days of Charlie Ward there, always in the starting line.
That's in the back of your head for good sports trivia. Charlie Ward.
Yeah, I have all kinds of weird sports trivia. Here, I'll give you one real quick, and then we'll get to the next thing you said. Let's see if you know this. This was a minor league game. I'm going to give you that first.
So
who won? Who won the first game as a pitcher in the Florida Marlins organization?
So in the history, so it was a minor league game.
A minor league game within the organization.
The first one game by a Marlin, but it happened to be a minor league game, is what you're telling me.
Yes, I'm going to give you.
Started in '93, if I'm not mistaken, along with the Rockies. It was either '92 or '93, so we're going way back.
Yeah.
Who was
I'm going to give you a hint to be nice.
Yeah,
he's in the Hall of Fame, but not for baseball.
Hall of Fame, and he won a minor league game. So that either means was he a minor leaguer? Oh, he's not in Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea. Let me hear. Who?
John Lynch.
John Lynch, the safety?
Yes.
He pitched a minor league baseball game for the Marlins.
Minor league baseball game for the Marlins. He was this undecided at one point. Yeah.
I would have never got. I know. I mean, we've seen Russell Wilson played for the Yankees. He was on their minor league team. I would have never gotten that. That's a great trivia.
My head's full of weird knowledge. In order to take the damn garbage out, ask my wife. She'll tell you very clearly. Anyway, he mentioned more about as far as what he's been working on. I said, I think it made me train harder, made me work harder in the offseason, and now it's just for me to show my work, show what I've done going into a new season. It's a new year. It's a new season. So that's kind of how I look at it. And that part I do like. That's him with his head on right, if that's honestly what he thinks.
Yeah. I think the vibe around the team in general, not just with him, seems like it's much more positive. But of course you like to see that. He also looks like, he's still as thin as a rail, but he also looks like he put on at least some muscle. Yeah. So you could definitely tell that he put some work in the offseason. So I'm going to give him a shot. I'm rooting for him. I hope he does great. I just, without injuries, and we all know they will likely happen, I just don't see that he's going to get a ton of targets. But like you said, he may not necessarily need a ton of targets to have an impact on the football game. If he catches one or two deep balls for 40, 45 yards in a football game, those would be huge plays to turn a game. Like if he's what John Ross was, and John Ross was obviously a flop. He was like a top 10 pick for the Cincinnati Bengals, but very similar, like a straight line speed guy, ran like a 4.2, whatever 40. Of course, had the 1 year with the Giants where he caught that long touchdown and did nothing else. But if he has a year like him when he was with the Bengals, I think he had a couple of 550, 600-yard seasons where he averaged 20, 22 yards per catch, has a couple big plays. I think most Giant fans would sign up for that right now this year. You hope he becomes more than that eventually. But if he could have a year like that, I'd be thrilled.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. He talked about Russell Wilson also and Russell Wilson's beliefs. Anybody who's listened to Russell Wilson talk at all to the media this season since he's been signed on with the Giants, every single time he brings up Jaylen Hyatt. Every single time. He doesn't say that. That's right, Bob. He doesn't say that. Unlimited.
I mentioned Saquon, being like a politician when he speaks. In a good way, Russell Wilson comes across as a politician too. Like I was so impressed with his opening press conference. You're talking about a guy that's never played for this football team. He knew every guy in the roster. Coming in, it is a breath of fresh air between him and Daniel Jones. Not that I'm trying to pick on Daniel, but the way that he spoke to the media.
You pick on Daniel Jones now. I'm just saying.
The ahs, he was not good when it came to me. Russell Wilson is incredibly polished when it comes to that.
I think he's overly polished, though. It's kind of like you said the Saquon thing before. He comes off as fake.
A little bit, yeah. But
it's almost the other side of the politician.
Weirdly in a good way, though. For me, at least.
Like, you ever work with that guy who's like overly smiley and overly happy all the time? And you just don't trust about him. That's where I wonder, because you always hear about issues with Russell Wilson, at Seattle, at Denver, with some of the teammates and all. And I wonder, is Russell Wilson that guy that just smiles nonstop at work? You just don't trust him. They didn't
get along well at all, right? From what I remember, there was a big breakup there. Yeah.
With Denver, there was, but you also have to that's revisionist history, if you will, because that really didn't come out until what's his face became the head coach over there, and it was Payton. And it's almost like a smear campaign because look what happened to him right away.
Yeah,
it was like,
and they want money wise.
Yeah.
But you did hear about things same thing as he was leaving with Seattle as well, and some of his old teammates even saying there was issues with him as well. So, who knows? Who knows? Like I said, none of us know him personally like that. I don't want to throw something out there and say he's a jerk or something like that. I'm not saying that. Though I've said multiple times The Rock is, but that's a whole separate thing. He's got the same vibe. Like no one's happy 24/7. Show me some real emotion. Show me that I'm actually getting the inside of like who you are in your conversations. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that's part of the problems. And I think I have trouble trusting people like that. And I wonder if that's just what's going on with Russell Wilson. But that's a whole side thing, though.
Oh, you're probably right. And maybe I'm grading him on a curve because Daniel Jones was so bad with the media, and it was refreshing to have a guy as polished as he was. But yeah, I definitely agree with you, and that's why I led with he comes across as a politician. Well, most politicians, if not all, are phony. So it kind of goes hand in hand when you say that.
But it's like there's two of them. There's two types of politicians: the one that people think care about them, and the ones that you know off the bat that you're like, no, this guy just wants my vote. Like he comes off as this guy just wants my vote guy.
That's well said.
Yeah.
Well said. So does Saquon Barkley, by the way.
And again, I'm with you. I don't think a single politician cares about us whatsoever. I'll say it that way, point blank. Either side, no one cares about us. They have us fighting amongst ourselves to distract from the real problems. But when it boils down to it, that's how he comes off to me. And like I said, I wonder if that's part of the problem. Again, that's a side thing though. But he did talk about him, and he said the day that Russell Wilson signed, he said he called me, tells me he watched my film, tells me how great a player I can be, and what he's going to bring to this room. When you have someone like Russ who's done it for a while, who's been experienced, who's been to the playoffs, who's been to the Super Bowl, who's been playing at a high level, come and say that, hey, I've seen all your films, seen what kind of player you can be and what type of player you will be, just brings a spark, brings extra motivation for myself, extra confidence. And that's the part we love about Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I got to bring it
forward. If it inspires others through his phoniness, like crooked politicians, we're happy.
Yeah. Listen, Jimmy Hoffa had a big falling for a while. Just saying, he spoke well.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe, that's what's happening. Like you said, he's just motivating in a fake politician way. Like somehow, like Jaylen Hyatt is our paper straws or something. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like,
how if it gets him to play good, that's great.
It can't hurt.
Yeah.
Can't hurt to have a kid a little confidence. And again, he followed it up though, because he did mention every single press conference he'd find a way to slip Jaylen Hyatt in. Like, I swear, if like he had forgotten to mention Jaylen Hyatt, he would have ran back to the podium. Oh, sorry guys, forgot Jaylen Hyatt, and like ran back off.
Like let's ride, turn around, Hyatt.
Yeah, that's
right. I also got to think about too. Like, what kind of like chess is Russ playing here? Because like, if you want to win over the locker room, let's say Hyatt was probably not the guy that was on your card that you want to win over, because everyone's probably thinking that he's gone. The way he's played, like rookie year, he's gone. And he's probably a sour guy in the locker room. But if you can win that guy over, you can win over the whole locker room. Like, he's that guy that's like, oh, no matter what you do, he's the guy that you're not going to win over. Now look at him talk about it.
You just answered right there, because that's what it is. He went after the guy who was seen as.
That's why I was bringing that point up.
Yeah, but he went after the guy that point blank was probably one of the least happy in the locker room. You're right, and it totally changes the locker room. The politician. Exactly. Now he did also mention Dart. He said, "I love Dart. We connected on day 2. I'm pretty sure in training camp, just before I went down, on a little back shoulder that he threw to me." He said, "In the huddle, he told me he was throwing me the ball. Just hearing that trust, hearing him say that in the huddle, I'm going to throw you the ball here. It just brings you extra motivation, extra confidence, especially from a quarterback that wants to get you the ball. And he's going to be a great player." I got to say, out of all the things I'm reading here on Hyatt and what he's saying, my biggest thing I'm taking away here is this kid had a confidence issue.
Big time.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. He definitely got beaten down his first 2 years in the league, and hopefully, with all the hard work and people propping him up, he takes a big step this year. We'll find out. But yes, I definitely think his confidence was lacking, as would most players, based off the first 2 years he's had in the NFL.
Yeah. We definitely to have him as even a fourth receiver doing, like you said, a couple catches, 40 yards, whatever. Like that'd be huge for this offense.
That's what's crazy when we talk about how he's the fourth wide receiver, not just the wide receiver. When you look at this team as a whole, and by no means, as we talked about pre-show, am I going to come out and say I think this team's going to the playoffs and that they're going to do miraculous things? But when you look at the depth chart on this roster, this is by far the best depth they've had on a roster.
Oh yeah,
in years. You look at position by position, you're like, oh, the depth's pretty good there. The depth's pretty good there. And the wide receivers are, one of those positions. But every position on the roster, you compare the roster now to when Joe Shane and Dable took the job, which is ironic because they actually made the playoffs that year. But just looking at it in terms of depth overall, this is a pretty deep roster, at least in comparison to other Giants rosters. It's not deep compared to the Philadelphia Eagles, but in comparison to other Giants rosters, it's the deepest roster we've had in a while. And that goes back to good drafting in recent years by Shane.
Yeah, like you make a good point. Like we had to pick up Isaiah Hodgins to go to the playoffs, who was literally getting cut, not even traded or anything from Buffalo. Like, just here you go, take him. Like
another practice squad. He wouldn't have had him at any point.
Yeah. So. But I mean, just think about like what Eli would do to have a roster wide receiver room like this.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it, like I said, every position. Quarterback, Jameis Winston's our third string quarterback. Like, running back. I mean, I think we're pretty deep there. I like our running back duo there. We actually have a decent swing tackle now with Hudson. Evan Neal, if he could become a solid guard, could be good depth at that position. So I just feel like we have a lot more depth than we've had in a long time on this Giants team.
Yeah, and it's funny with the Eli thing too, because like I hate, and I've said it many times, I hate all the references people are giving Abdul Carter to Micah Parsons. But I'll throw the comparison point blank. If you had a quarterback like Eli with Neighbors, he's OBJ.
I'm gonna tell you what.
Yeah.
If not,
I know it's the easiest comparison to make because of where he played, the number he wore. I don't care. It's what I see. When I watched him last year at Penn State, I remember watching that Notre Dame game. I actually live streamed that game. I was with Bad Dog when I was watching. I'm like, this dude is Micah Parsons. Like I know like that's like the obvious comparison to make because of where he played and everything, but I don't know.
I get the comparisons 100%. I just don't like putting the pressure on the kid. I want him to.
I agree, but I think he's going to be able to take it. I think he's that good, man. I think he's that good. Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, guys, we're going to pay the bills real quick. Then we're going to come back with a few more segments there for you. So we'll see you in just a second.
Thanks for watching. Like the show? Of course you do, or you would have turned it off by now and not be hearing me. There are plenty of ways to support the show. YouTube is the best place to join us, and we offer memberships there with fun benefits like custom emojis and early access to video clips. Of course, there you can also send super chats and stickers to send one-time support payments. The best way to support the show is to buy these drunk idiots beers at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Along with one-time support payments, there are also monthly plans, so you can continue to help kill their livers each month. You can also show people that you are a goofball by visiting our store at 2giantgoofballs-shop.fourthwall.com. We got everything from shirts, hats, phone cases, funny candles, buttons, stickers, and even a 2 Giant Goofballs towel to dry off your goofballs. Of course, you can always support the show for free by simply hitting the like, subscribe, and share button wherever you are watching or listening to this. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps the show tremendously, and quite frankly, the Goofballs suck at marketing and need your help to get the word out. Thank you for being part of the Goofball Army and for taking the time out to support the show.
Well done.
All right. I can see you in the back laughing hysterically. Yeah. He's like, they say get these drunk idiots beers. Like, and also, guys, along with supporting us, do make sure you support the Entertainah here. If you haven't already, go ahead and go to the comments section. I'm going to put it up again for you guys here. We got a link to both his YouTube and his Twitter account as well, or X, whatever. I still never know what the hell to call it.
I still call
either or. It's interchangeable.
Yeah,
like it's still sending a tweet. You can't go send an X.
Yeah, as long as I
Listen,
still call.
Be careful you say it.
It's Twitter. Until such time there's a phrase that replaces I just sent the tweet. It's Twitter to me.
Exactly.
Listen,
Thank you.
Listen, it's I could X it out. I could send it to an X, but if it's in front of a lady, it's a tweet. Don't want her to make a mistake.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys, let's get in our next topic here. We're going to talk a little bit about some injury issues going on here potentially here. So we're going to talk about Neighbors and Skattebo, two of the biggest names here in training camp overall. Obviously, Neighbors, because quite frankly, without him, our offense is a totally different looking offense. And Skattebo, because he's been a pretty pleasant surprise, looks like, so far in training camp here. So Tuesday, obviously, was the shoulder injury that can hurt around the world as Giants fans quickly saw the repeats of the prior year's injuries. His Neighbors going off the field, and us all going, "Oh God, no, don't be serious." Well, we thought it wasn't serious at the time. It's confirmed it's not serious. He was back out in practice today, guys. So, you don't have to worry too much about that there. Obviously, again, they're going to play it light with him. They're going to play it easy. The Giants aren't, listen, I almost had to stop myself. I said the Giants aren't stupid. They do stupid things at times, let's be honest. But they're not complete morons. They know that if they lose Neighbors, they're in trouble. Like, they know this offense is nothing near what it is with Neighbors without him. That's how... He is probably the most important person on this entire roster.
I'd say second, but I think you could make a strong argument he's the best player in the entire roster. I still think Andrew Thomas is the most important player on the roster.
I will give you that, actually. I will give you that.
No, that's fair. That's definitely
that
fair.
Offensive line is a disgrace. But I put him second, the most important on the offense for sure.
And it's funny because defense is the strong suit of this team, obviously. And we just ranked the two top people most important on this team as offensive players.
Yeah, I for me, the second would be neck and neck between Dexter Lawrence and Neighbors. I think those are my two most important guys after Andrew Thomas.
See, I think the only reason I don't give it to Dexter Lawrence because we have other pass rushers that we don't have the run stoppers, but at least we can replace some of what he brings, if that makes sense. Yeah,
that's fair. I just our other defensive tackles are huge question marks for me. And if Dex goes down, man, like that could completely change everything.
I'm just big on Darius Alexander. I think that's the problem.
We're excited. I mean, I'm excited for him, but we talked about third round picks, realistic expectations with Hyatt. For me, it's the same thing with him, but hopefully he surprises us like Dru Phillips did last year.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Hoping.
Yeah. Now, on Neighbors, Brian Dable did talk to reporters about him. He said, we'll put him out there and he'll do what he can do. He's okay. We have a plan. And listen, guys, this is not new for them dealing with him having minor injuries. We've talked about the toe injury, obviously, he's had since college, that they've been kind of nursing things along and trying to make sure they don't overplay him in practice because they flat out, again, need him in the game time. And he's already talked about they might do a surgery on this toe even after the season.
I was about to say that. I remember he said that in the offseason next year they might get the surgery.
Yeah, so they're not going to go crazy on him in this training camp in general. Though he did have a freaking amazing catch, by the way, today, I should say, because he did have a really, really nice deep shot there. I didn't see the quarterback. Was it Russell Wilson? I think
it was Russ. Yeah, it was Russ. Yeah.
I was focused so much on the catch. I kept rewatching it because it was a really nice catch there. And I have to remind myself every time it happens that he caught it against the Giants too, though, because I have to keep doing that to myself because that's the downfall of practicing against yourself. Every good play you did is a bad play somebody else did.
Yeah, who was the corner on that? I think it was it Flott? I think it was Flott that he burnt on that play.
There were two corners right there, and the way they went to him as mid throw was hard to tell who was originally on the coverage because by the time I saw there was two corners convening there, but Flott was one of them. I know that.
Yeah, that was a great catch. It was one-handed catch, I think, right? He pinned against his body, but yeah, it was
initially one-handed, then pushed against. Yeah, it was a really nice accurate. And that's why I say the OBJ comparisons, I'm okay with him at this point because he's proven he can do it. He can prove he can do some of that stuff there. But like I said, he's good to go, guys. Don't worry too much. Now, Skattebo, that's the guy that we have to, I don't want to say worry about overly, but we got to question what's going on here. So he's been out since Tuesday. On Tuesday, Dable said that it was due to a participation plan, which is a fancy just way of saying we scheduled to stay off for him anyway. No news is what's going on today with him, but he didn't practice again. So kind of keep an eye. He got a couple little bit injuries, obviously, going into spring practices and all. I think it's nothing to worry about personally. I think they're probably, like he said, doing a plan for him because he's coming off an injury. Don't go ahead and force too much at that point. A good day to let him rest, obviously, is days that you're, not practicing in full pads. Not much you're doing as a running back necessarily, except for the occasional passing plays. We've already seen he's got hands. Everybody's seen that one tip ball that he almost caught. Like, this kid has the ability to get open, has the ability to get use those hands. We want to see him a little more as far as the running game, because that's going to be the big part of what he has. He is a running back after all. It's crazy. So, like I said, I wouldn't worry too much on that one. I think both of them is one's much ado about nothing, and one is actually good news, which was rare for us to hear as Giant fans. Good news.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go crazy about the minor injury news in training camp. I'll worry about that as the year progresses. But like you said, it seems minor. I don't think it's going to affect anything. The good news, the other good news in terms of injury, not so much recently, but a couple of weeks ago, Giants said that they believe Andrew Thomas will be ready for week 1, which was a massive concern for Giants fans going into the offseason. So that to me, when I heard that, that's the best bit of good news I've heard so far this offseason. Also, and again, I don't want to get too high or too low in training camp, but Evan Neal, you've heard a lot of good things about him at the guard spot. He was getting first-team reps, I think, a good amount of first-team reps at the guard spot. So
he is right now, because those who haven't heard, Greg Van Roten is out of camp right now for a couple of days. His wife is expecting a baby any day now.
Oh,
so he's been out. So Evan Neal has been the one getting the reps in his place, actually. So which is really good for Neal. Maybe very bad for Greg Van Roten.
We shall see.
New baby, new spot on the bench. Who knows? Like, but
it's a lot easier to hold the baby on the bench than it is on the field.
It is, and he probably conveniently in right next to him at that point, just watching the game. But listen, I've said it before. In a perfect world for me, Evan Neal takes the spot.
That'd be great.
It'd be great, because it also provides us the insurance in case JMS doesn't improve and GVR, all these analogies, all these anagrams here with names now, but GVR can go ahead and take over JMS's spot in a pinch if he had to. He's proven he could do it last year.
Yeah, that'd be great. And you at least potentially have a long-term guard with Evan Neal if he could develop into that, right? So
depending on I mean, again, we kind of called him Eric Flowers of the day. That's basically where I'm at with him. I think he's much better as a guard. I think he can make it long-term. We'll find out.
Yeah.
So let's talk about another guy we're not too sure about. Deontay Banks.
That.
So, again, we said it the other day. I think someone needs to explain to him that he's in the middle of a competition for his job, because I don't see quite the hustle there. But he was talking about Paulson Adebo. That's really the big thing about the story that I like hearing here. Obviously, Paulson Adebo, brand new Giant coming over from the Saints there. And he's basically was talking about how Adebo's kind of taking him under his wing a little bit. He said he just teaches me a lot, such as we talk about finishing plays a lot. What Marshawn taught him. We'll talk about Marshawn Lattimore, of course, we played with over in New Orleans, who's now with the Commanders. He kind of teaches me the same thing. So interesting, because again, Paulson Adebo is a very young player himself. People forget he's really just coming off a rookie deal, and this is when he got in the NFL was pre-COVID year. So he's basically only a year or two removed from Banks himself at that point. Just has a lot more experience because he came out younger. It's good for him to be already taking up that role. He's obviously the CB1 by default to a certain degree, if we're being honest about it. But he's obviously going to be CB1 for us at that point. That with that comes where you should be taking up at least a little bit of leadership role.
Yeah,
and he's
a mentor at least.
Yeah, to a very young secondary. Because you got to think, guys, listen, not going to knock Banks when I say it this way, but he ain't that special. He's the only guy who's doing that with, probably. He's probably doing a lot. He's probably doing it with Phillips. He might even be doing with the safeties.
Javon Holland, Nubin,
yeah. And, Nubin's talking about the same with Holland as well. So I'm loving that they're bringing in guys that are doing that kind of thing there. Now, Banks did also say he viewed last year as a sophomore slump.
I saw that, yeah.
I will use the quotations there because I think it's a little more than a sophomore slump when you're getting benched mid-game for your attitude on the sidelines.
Yeah, that was the most heartbreaking thing for me as a Giants fan last year with Banks. I'm not stunned that he struggled last year because he got inserted in as the CB1 in a new defensive scheme. And I remember looking at our schedule before the year started last year. We were talking about our schedule before we went live for this. And I looked at every team. I'm like, I'm like, incredible receiver, incredible receiver, incredible. Like it seemed like every week we were going up against an elite receiver, and he was thrusted into the CB1 role. So I expected some bumps in the road, or a sophomore slump, if you will, as he called it last year. But the fact that he gave off the appearance that he kind of quit late into the year, and I get it. It's a lot easier for us as fans to call that out. And when you're on the team and you're in the locker room and you're in a horrible environment and the team's losing every week and you're thinking about next year, when I put my mind in the head of a player, I kind of get it. But you can't quit, and it's a bad look for a young player. So that was the thing that really hurt me. Banks is an enigma because when I watch Banks play, I think his coverage is actually really good. Like when I watch him, his coverage, he's usually in pretty good coverage. It's his ball skills that are awful. He doesn't turn his head. He doesn't make a play on the ball. I remember when we played the Browns last year, I think Jones fumbled or returned the ball over on like the first play. And then the very next play, they threw a touchdown to Amari Cooper, in which Banks was in coverage on that play in the left corner of the end zone. And the coverage on that play was immaculate. He was all over me. He smothered him, but he had his back to the ball and he wasn't looking at it, and Cooper just caught it. And there were so many instances when I watched Deontay Banks over his first 2 years in the NFL where you could point to plays like that where you're like, the coverage is there. The receiver's not wide open, but he doesn't have the knack to turn his head at the appropriate time or make a play on the ball. And that's something he's got to get a lot better at. But the potential's there. It's not like I see a guy that's constantly getting smoked in coverage. I think the physical attributes are there, but he's got to put it all together. And hopefully this year, a little less pressure, playing CB2, better overall secondary, better pass rush should only help the secondary. Hopefully a better offense, which in turn should help the defense. All those factors, year 3, second year playing in Bowen's system, should help him take a big step up. But I agree with you. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's a locked in starter day one. He's got to compete here because Cordell Flott is nothing to sneeze at. He's a pretty solid player. We talk about good depth on this team. There's another position where there's good depth. Cordell Flott is a solid backup player at the cornerback spot. So I don't think it's a lock. He's got to continue to perform in training camp for sure. Cordell Flott's going to give him a run for his money.
I'm going to tell you point blank, he beats him.
I was going to say, like,
I think Banks is still off the bench.
You think to start the year that Banks comes off the bench?
That's what I'm hearing so far. Because
I wouldn't be stunned at all. I wouldn't be stunned at all. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to follow up with the Entertainah over there because, I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head with everything. And it just goes to show you that, Banks comes into this league with, that silver spoon in his mouth, expecting that he's going to be the best and not really work for it. And you got someone like Flott that's just been working his ass off nonstop. That's really about to take the job from that guy.
I've always liked Flott. I remember he made that big play against Justin Jefferson in the playoff game. I've always liked Flott. I've always wanted him to get more of an opportunity. So one way or the other, whoever wins that job, I hope they have a really good year. I still believe in Banks, though. I still think the tools are there. I just think he needs to mature more as a player. I'm actually still somewhat hopeful with Deontay Banks.
Yeah, I don't want to say I give up, but I feel like part of the problem is and we got a term we say on the show whenever the Giants try to play somebody out of position that they've Josh Azudu'd him. And I feel like he's been Josh Azudu'd because they crushed. We talked about the confidence with Hyatt before. They crushed this kid's confidence last year. And you hit the nail on the head as far as the receivers. We said point blank going into the year, this was a gauntlet of wide receivers he had to face.
Yeah.
And in the couple of games he was the CB1 his rookie year, he got destroyed by CeeDee Lamb, got destroyed by Scary Terry, and he clearly wasn't ready. And they put him in a position where he wasn't ready. I actually think getting him over to a spot where you get him to finally, like you said, turn his head around. That's the biggest goddamn thing for him. Turn your damn head around. I swear. I watched somebody. Listen, I see you in the comments section, Sean. We'll get to the comments here in a minute, but said going to Giants training camp on Saturday. I want people to yell his name out to see if he turns the head around and then say, look, you can do it. You can do it. That's what we need to see you do on the damn field. Just keep on yelling, Banks, Banks. Like, just do it until he finally turns around. Just go there with a megaphone. Banks. Keep on doing it, because this kid's got to learn that. But I think if you throw him back in and he's not ready, you're going to ruin him full time. Like done. He'll never reach the potential he had. And I don't think he was ever going to be a CB1. I thought he was a CB2 all day long. We said we thought we drafted him a little high in the first round. Rob and I had a second round talent on him. I just think that they haven't put this kid in a position to succeed. And unfortunately, he didn't have the mental strength to get around that last year. And instead had his issues. We saw him get called out publicly, obviously, in the Eagles game where he just was like walking over to Jalen Hurts. We saw him obviously have the issue where he got benched in the Steelers game. And listen, we all see what kind of an idiot Dable makes out of himself on the sidelines sometimes. Imagine what he had to do to get benched by that man. like seriously, like that man flips out every single game. Imagine.
I'm glad that Dable's put weight back on though this year. I think that's a plus for the
using that dog.
Yeah,
the fight.
It's like a Santa situation. I don't want my Santa so skinny. Like there's something wrong with that. Okay, like he lost something what made him last year. That's for sure. So no more Pilates classes or Ozempic, whatever he was doing at that. You heard both comments. People say he kept saying Pilates, and I'm like, that's a little beyond Pilates, my friend. There, listen, it's okay to say pops Ozempic. It's okay. We're not going to get mad at you.
To go back to Banks too, like when you get drafted, like you got drafted at strength, like more of a zone instead of like a man kind of thing. Like when you had a wink over there, or the idea of it was a different. And then like it's a new offense, a new like system going on. So it's like you got to learn like a freshman year being CB2, learn way to play. Then his sophomore year, learn a different style. But now you got to be the dude. When you just learn the other way, and now you're trying to relearn again. Like I don't know if saying benching him would ruin him, but he definitely shouldn't be a CB1. But if you want to put him like on, like CB3, CB2, like that's something where you could bring back his confidence.
Yes,
where you could play again. Like just it's kind of unfair. It's almost unfair. Half of like the games he had to play against our division, he's playing against studs.
Yeah, I'm actually curious because I remember, like you guys, like we said earlier, when I looked at the schedule last year and seeing I just pulled up the Giants 2024 schedule right now. Just look at the names of these receivers that he had to go up against as the CB1 last year. Week 1, the Cowboys. We already know. Actually, am I looking at the wrong year? I'm looking at 20. We played with the 40-0 game against the Cowboys was 2 years ago, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, it was. And I don't know how that happened. We just got balloons going in the chat.
What happened to balloons? All of a sudden, I see balloons.
I was like, Drew, what are you doing?
I think it's with the Apple that I have. It does like emojis when I do like a thumbs up.
I got my party lights going now. I got my party lights.
So Vikings week 1 last year. Justin Jefferson, like arguably the best receiver in the league. Commanders, Terry McLaurin. We talked about him. Amari Cooper, week 3 against the Browns. Cowboys, we know them. Seattle, DK Metcalf. Bengals, Jamar Chase. Like, it didn't let up. Philadelphia Eagles, one of the best, if not the best receiving corps in the league. Steelers, Pickens. You go down the list. I mean, even the Panthers had a pretty good receiving corps last year. The Bucks, I mean, Mike Evans. Like, they every week, it didn't let up. He had a top-notch receiver every week. So I knew going into the year it was going to be tough with the new defense. So that's why I'm not out on Banks. I didn't like what you said about him quitting. I still think he's going to have a good year this year. He may not start the year. We'll see if Cordell Flott beats him out. But I do think when he gets to see the field this year, you're going to see a much better Banks than we did last year. I really do believe that. And some of that has to do with the fact that he has a reduced role. Like, let's be honest. And the fact that the Giants have a much better pass rush, or at least we hope they do, with the addition of course, the number 3 overall pick and hopefully a healthy Dexter Lawrence all year. But I do think he's solid this year. What were you going to say?
Yeah. Throw in Darius Alexander in there too.
Darius Alexander, why not? Throw him in there.
And Chauncey Golston, like, that gets lost in the fold. Like I feel like
that was an under the radar, signing that I even just forgot about before you brought him back up. Because we're so excited about him. Yeah.
And where did we get him from?
The guy with the name Chauncey.
Cowboys. We got him from the Cowboys.
We literally picked up our division rivals' number 2 sack guy in the free agency, and no one's talking about it.
Yeah,
because he's 5th. He's like the 5th best pass rusher because we're deep there.
I know, but that's insane. Like that's a really good move. Like quiet under the radar. So, like I said, I've given Joe Shane a lot of crap over the years, so I got to give him a little bit of kudos on that move because I thought that was a really good move. I really do. And it's a quiet move. And watch him be the guy that people forget about. And then all of a sudden, every so often, he makes a big play. And like, oh, yeah, we got this kid.
Joe Shane, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I've certainly done that before. But I think Joe Shane had as good of an offseason as I could have hoped for. Now, we haven't seen it play out yet, but he didn't do anything. Like, the biggest fear for me, and I think a lot of Giants fans going into the offseason when we found out he was coming back, which I thought he was going to. I know a lot of Giants fans didn't think he was going to, but I thought Merritt for sure was going to give him another year, and that ultimately is what ended up happening. But my biggest fear, and a lot of Giants fans' biggest fear, was he was going to try to save his job, meaning that he was going to spend like a lunatic in free agency, which he didn't do. He was very smart in terms of the contracts that he signed. They're all 3 years or less. They're all young players. So they're contracts you could easily maneuver out of after this year if things go, south. And he didn't force a quarterback pick. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I thought going probably 2 or 3 weeks leading up into the draft, I still thought we were taking Shedeur Sanders at 3. Obviously, that didn't end up happening. As the draft got closer, I got more in line with the fact that I thought we'd be going Abdul Carter if he fell there, but didn't force a quarterback pick, didn't spend like a lunatic in free agency. And I think he did the smart things overall. He got what he thinks could be his quarterback of the future, but he didn't spend a whole lot to go up and get him. I think he had a really good offseason. Now, that doesn't mean it'll result in a lot of wins, but, because we're coming from having the 3rd overall pick in the draft. But I do think he did a good job. I don't think he forced anything, and he has a clear plan. And let's see how it plays out, not just this year, the following year. I'm personally, as a fan, willing to give him at least another year after this year because I realize the rookie quarterback. I want to give him another year after this year and see where the team is after that.
As long as I see something, I'm with you.
Yeah,
what I mean by that is if we have another year like last year, no, I'm sorry, I can't.
Well, if they have the first pick, second pick, I think at that point it's probably kumbaya. It's time. At that point, you probably draft a quarterback if you're picking that high again.
Yeah, I think Dart gets Josh Rosen at that point. Next thing you know,
yeah. I just think the defense is too good though for us to be picking that high. I'm not saying we won't be picking 5th or 6th or 7th, but I don't think we'll be picking 1st or 2nd. I just think the defense is too good.
And I think people need to get off Shane Bowen too, because people are bashing Shane Bowen as if he did a horrible job. I'm sorry. Did anybody else watch the Giants last year? Was the defense the issue? Was the defense? The offense was the issue, not the defense. Everybody, the offense.
Like, people forget, myself included at times. About midway through the year last year, the Giants led the league in sacks.
Damn straight.
Led the league in sacks. Now, the biggest change from the prior year, the Giants actually were very good, Wink Martindale's last year, at creating turnovers. The defense was awful under Wink Martindale's last year, but the only thing that kept the Giants in those games were they were very good at creating turnovers. I think they were plus in the plus minus for the year because they created a ton of turnovers, Wink Martindale's last year.
Banks in the second half got really good at that, actually, too.
And McKinney, I think, had like 5 picks or whatever. Wish he was still here. But that obviously was what was missing. But people forget when the defense was relatively healthy last year, they were getting after the quarterback. They led the league in sacks like midway through the year.
A lot of pressure.
In the league in points against, which I hate to say it as a good thing, but I'm sorry, when you're average in points against and you're like the worst team in the entire NFL in points for, then maybe you're focused on the wrong area if you think Shane Bowen's the problem. I'm sorry.
I always knew they weren't going to fire him if they were bringing Dable back because what message does that send at that point, right? The word was that Dable and Wink had a horrible working relationship. So all of a sudden now you're going to fire the guy that you brought in after just 1 year. I mean, all of a sudden you start to get the reputation that you're impossible to work with. Then what defensive coordinators are going to want to come there? So I always thought if Dable's coming back, Bowen's getting another year. So I wasn't surprised by that.
I wasn't worried about Bowen either.
You're 100% right in the optics, but beyond that, who would want to come here knowing that Dable's on a make it or you're done kind of season?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Yeah.
People don't typically sign up for that a lot. So, all right, guys, we're giving you a lot of negativity. Now let's give you some positivity here. We're going for some positivity here.
17
ranks the Giants top 4. Now you might be asking, what do they rank as top 4 on? Obviously not in talent, not in overall. They ranked as top 4 on teams based on talent under the age of 25 years old, which is a very specific age and a weird way to range.
I remember, and we kind of talked about this before the show when we were going over what the topics were going to be. And I remember a list like this came out a couple of years ago, and the Giants were very high again. And as I said, when you told me about this topic before we started, I'm not too surprised that they're high on that list because they're always picking top 3, top 4, top 5. And when you're talking specifically 25 or younger, you can make an argument that we have the two. I mean, it's yet to be seen with Abdul Carter, but I'm a believer. You can make the argument that if Abdul Carter becomes what I think he is, which is the best player in this year's draft class, we could have 2 of the top 6, 7 overall players in the NFL under the age of 25 between him and Malik Neighbors. So I'm not surprised that we rank high on that list. And a lot of that has to do with what, unfortunately, due to the fact that we pick as high as we do in the draft. But we certainly have a lot of young talent on this team for sure.
Yeah. And like I said, it's a weird age to give. So they made our blue chip players under 25. Malik Neighbors, obviously. Abdul Carter, obviously. Jaxson Dart, and Kayvon Thibodeau still under the age of 25, which is a little crazy because you think of him as much older because he's been with us a few years now. Notable graduated players. In other words, guys who have turned 25 no longer qualify. Tyrone Tracy Jr. turned 25.
He started at 25, I think, last year, if I'm not mistaken.
He's one of those COVID kids.
Yeah, he's one of the Tyrone Tracy. Yeah, he was an old rookie.
And Micah McFadden. Who would have thought that Tyrone Tracy is older than Kayvon Thibodeau?
And JMS started at 25 too. He was an old rookie. Not that he'd be on this, but yeah. So on the write-up, they said the Giants' young talent includes a strong core with the 4 players named above, as well as a long tail of underperformers who still have the potential to develop into key starters. Dart, this year's first-round pick, turned 22 in May. He'll be throwing to Neighbors, who ranked an incredible 6th in ESPN receiver tracking metrics as a 21-year-old rookie. Wandale Robinson is in the slot at age 24, so he still makes the cut. While starting tight end Theo Johnson is also 24. Who would have thought those two were the same age? Crazy. Alex Bellinger. Is Bellinger 25?
I think he is probably. I think he's like 26 at this point. Let me see. Daniel Bellinger.
Let's see, his 4th year? No, he's got his 3rd year. Oh, this would be his 4th year.
I think it's his 4th year.
24. He is 24. He's still there too. So Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger, actually the same year, same age.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You don't think of that because you think of the year they got drafted, not the year that they're born. Crazy. Yeah. They said on defense, there are 2 young edge rushers. Thibodeau is in his 4th season and won't turn 25 on December 15th. Carter, the number 3 overall pick in this year's draft, is 21. The secondary features 2 24-year-olds in Tyler Newman and cornerback Deontay Banks, plus 23-year-old slot cornerback Dru Phillips. Well, here we go. Now they actually mentioned go into Bellinger. He said, in terms of younger players who can still blossom, the Giants will try a 24-year-old first-round pick Evan Neal at guard this season. Deep threat Jaylen Hyatt is still 23, while tight end Daniel Bellinger, who started 8 games last season, is 24. Cordell Flott and safety Dane Belton are both in their 4 seasons and combined to start 16 games in 2024. Flott doesn't turn 25 until next August, while Belton turns 25 in December. So you forget sometimes how many young players are really on this roster, but that's a crazy 25 is like you've seen people coming out of college and going to the draft at 25 now.
We just mentioned 2 of them that were Giants draft picks, Tyrone Tracy and JMS. I think we're right around 25 when we drafted him. So yeah,
I mean, Michael Penix got drafted at 33 years old.
It felt like.
Watch, someone's gonna look that up. Is he really that old? No, he's not that old. But
he's only 26.
Now, those who are curious about where our NFC East, enemies there were, Commanders ranked 3rd on the list. Which, let's be honest, Jaden Daniels
alone gets you top.
Yeah.
List. Yeah.
But we finally beat the Eagles and Cowboys in something. Eagles 14th, Cowboys 17th. So it's
I'm not surprised. I mean, I wish I could see the whole list. I don't know if it shows it, but I would imagine most of the teams that are on the bottom of that list are good teams because they're picking in the back of the draft. So that's just the way I would think of it. But maybe I'm wrong. But I'm not surprised that we're high on that list. But that's still a good thing. That means we've hit on some draft picks.
Yeah. No, I mean and
a few draft picks.
A few draft picks, but they also give a long list of ones we didn't hit on. That's the sad part of the whole scenario. All righty, guys. Let's get to the comments.
In the 3rd.
We're going to go on to our rapid fire section here with the Entertainah, finding out his thoughts on all the players here. As Jay starts off with Skattebo.
Skattebo.
I got to pull it up. The Skattebo. The Skattebo gnome.
I'll tell you what, man. He is going to be one of the most popular players on the team. He is fun to watch. Watching him at Arizona State last year, just watching some of the late night college games, like I was so happy when the Giants drafted him because he's impossible not to root for. The guy runs like a lunatic. As we stated, he has better hands than a lot of people give him credit for. Reminds me of kind of Ahmad Bradshaw in his style of run. But yeah, I think he's going to be a big-time fan favorite. And already looks like he's building great chemistry with Jaxson Dart, so that's good, too.
Don't think of the guy who bull rushes into the pile as being the guy who catches the ball. And I think that's what it is why people are shocked by that. They see his running style, and they're like, wait, he can catch the ball, too? Yes, he can.
And he's also a lunatic. Wasn't that story that came out that he used to, like, run into, like, a light post or something when he was a kid? Telephone pole. Yeah.
Which I'm not sure if that's better or worse. I'm not sure where that is on the yeah. But yeah, it's
got the pads and the side.
Yeah, it's craziness there, that's for sure. Jay says you're too old to get LASIK. When I said listen, I just want the 2 days of sleeping. I said I didn't know if they want the surgery, but
not to make this a LASIK podcast, but one thing that my sister actually couldn't get it. My sister, her vision is not nearly as bad as mine, but the shape of her eye didn't correlate with what they needed for them to do the surgery. So there's certain types of eyes that they can't do the surgery on. Yeah.
I had never heard of that before. So I luck out. My whole family, I don't know how this happened. My whole family, media-wise. So all my grandparents had glasses. My parents both have glasses. My sisters both have glasses. Me, I have better than 20/20 vision.
How does that happen?
I don't know. It's about time I got one good gene. It's bad enough I got the middle baldness gene I wasn't supposed to get.
That's every other generation. So
they say go by your
dads and uncles.
Thing. Unless he had a wig or some kind of surgery I was unaware of back in the day.
Get implants.
Jail says Entertainah is the goated content creator. He always responds to almost everyone and makes their voice feel important. Can also deal with rancid people online and never affects him. An NYC legend. Listen, kind words from Jay is just like, oof. And this is like the second day he said kind things to the guests. I think that we should start taking this personal, Rob. He just
who was your guest yesterday?
NYG22 there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've seen Jay before. He's frequented my chat before, and appreciate the kind words, man. And
he's
at the end of the day, that's not really a compliment. That last part about the internet, like if you're gonna do anything online, whether it be talk about movies, Giants, whatever it may be, there's just a lot of cruel people out there, and they get muscles behind a keyboard. So that's something you got to learn to deal with real quick when you do stuff like this.
Oh yeah, we most of the negative comments.
Email warrior, if you will.
Except for one, I thought it was funny because he commented up like he's like, well, I forget who it was about. I think it was Dane Belton, and he was just like, thank God Dane Belton doesn't actually watch this. You're a subpar host, and I'm like, and you're a subpar commenter. It's just life. That's what it is, though. If you're gonna put yourself out there, you're gonna find people that like what you do and don't like what you do, and you can't make everybody happy. You just do what makes you happy. That's life.
That's life.
That's life. Coach, peace and blessings. Appreciate it, man. Bookend tackles. DJ is the socially awkward smart kid. Yes, that's probably very. But and again,
another one of my regulars, Bookend tackles. He's a frequent member of my chat as well. Good to see him in here, and that is a perfect description of Daniel Jones, a socially awkward smart kid. Yeah, I agree with that. He comes across as book smart, not football smart.
We said it before. He is the guy that if we had a daughter, we would hope that she would find a man like him. He seems like that kind of a nice guy.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, nice doesn't make you win football games. And in the end, he just couldn't read defenses. He couldn't throw with anticipation, and we ruined him. It is what it is.
We ruined him.
Yeah. Jason Garrett. Just saying. like that's all it was. He says he worked hard though. Exactly, like I said, that's why we don't slander the man.
And he played tough. That even though he played dumb at times, trying to run over Grady Jarrett, he played tough, and I think as fans we respected that as well.
And he has a better catch on his resume than Jalin Hyatt.
That is true. Who threw that ball? I'm trying to. Was it Barkley? I'm trying to.
I want to say it was Barkley.
Yeah,
I want to say it was Barkley. So Dorothy says Neighbors is better than OBJ, and like I said, I think you could say that that's a conversation that'll be had.
I think he's going to have a better career than OBJ did. I think it's too early, but that's because OBJ fell off after his first 4 years in the league. I'm hoping Neighbors does not do that, but it's too early for me to say that. OBJ, his first 3 years in the league, guys, I certainly think Neighbors can do that. Like I said it earlier, I think he's arguably the most talented receiver in the league. But OBJ, his first 3 years in the league, I mean, it's one of the greatest first 3 years in the history of the NFL at the wide receiver position. So Neighbors got to do a little bit more before I put him there.
Only that scares me is the injuries, because he hasn't had major ones yet, but he's had a whole bunch of little ones.
Yeah.
And that scares me a little with Neighbors, because that was OBJ's problem. He had the injuries and then he just wasn't the same player.
Yeah. That's unfortunately, that's a lot of players in the NFL. It's a physical sport. Yeah.
100%. Dorothy says, will the PA guy play Scatman, John Scatman's song every time Scatman does something good? If so, I'm not going to games. Whoa, I love that. Who doesn't love the Scatman?
It better.
What's wrong with Scott? That's a great touchdown celebration song if Skattebo gets in. I actually got to disagree with you on that, Dorothy.
Yeah, I like it. And it's funny because she brought it up and said, like, don't do this, but we're all like, hey, this would be great. You put the idea out there. If it happens now, it's your fault.
I envision that happen every time.
Yeah.
I mean, great. I don't foresee him being in the end zone that often this year, but I'll be happy to hear it a few times this year.
Exactly. And you know what we're going to do? As soon as the show is over, we're going to call John Mara and suggest this. And you know what he's going to say back? Who the hell are you and how did you get my number? But that's a whole separate
Here's a free medium Coke.
Here's a free medium Coke. Oh,
Pepsi,
my God.
Pepsi. Don't throw Coke in the gutter. Pepsi.
Listen, it is what it is. We just gotta throw it out there every single time we possibly can. Which, you know, we should start making it a thing that we just start throwing out there, the picture of the Dr. Seuss book as well. Yeah. We made a Dr. Seuss book with him. So
with John Mara?
Yes, with John Mara. I'm gonna.
You wrote it?
I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick for you. Because I gotta change the view on this thing so I can see. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We got to take down the comment here first so you can see the whole thing. Here we go.
Green eggs and a free medium.
Oh, yeah. These are becoming legendary. I feel like already, because I love these things. So I was a big Dr. Seuss guy growing up. There we go. Had the Saquon still a Super Bowl? Gotta throw that in there. And of course, Jameis Winston in the literary classic.
My favorite.
2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 2 interceptions.
He should certainly get Deontay Banks' confidence up this year. Yeah.
And then, of course, the Dak is so whack.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. This is what happens when we have too much time in our hands. Bad things happen. So
I'm impressed. Anyway. You were able to do that. What is it? You did that with AI or you wrote that yourself?
ChatGPT, of course. I'm not that good.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely all ChatGPT. But it's kind of scary that you can do that kind of stuff with ChatGPT nowadays. It's really scary in general what you can do with it.
Insane. Yeah.
It is absolutely insane. Let's see. Dorothy says, did Entertainah have a child or has the stress of being a Giants fan turned his Julius Pepper to salt? Listen, that's
talking about the gray hair.
That's time.
I'd rather be gray than not there. So that's what I say, Dorothy. But
there's a reason there's a reason every episode. I'm just saying. So I'm with you on that. Okay. You could always, if you ever decided to, fix it in 5 minutes according to the commercials I see. Whereas I can't get 5 minutes, get hair back. Okay. So
at least you don't have to deal with bad hair days anymore.
I still do, because I still cling on for dear life and do the comb forward. So it is what it is. Sean says, what's up, Giant Goofballs? What's up, Tana? My son and I are going to the Giants training camp this Saturday. Last 2 Giants camps. I went there in 2002 and 2016, which would become playoff season. Keep it going. Listen, if you're the good luck charm, I want you there every damn year. If we have to get you tickets, we will figure out a way to get you tickets.
I'm trying to remember I went to training camp a few times. I think it was 2022 when I went last. I went like 3 or 4 practices. It was either 21 or 22. I think it was 22. So Maybe I'm good luck. I should have went this year. Unfortunately, I haven't gone yet. But
There's still time.
yeah,
Still time.
Luck we can have this year. God damn it, we need it. We need it. Ryan's
You're our
big
only hope.
podcast says, "Damn, I'm late tonight. What up, chat and goofballs and Entertainah? What's up, man?" And I got to email you back
man.
too, because you emailed a little back and forth there, Ryan. But again, guys, if you haven't, go ahead and give a like and subscribe and all to Ryan's Big Blue podcast as well. We always love to support other content creators. And listen, I give him credit because he's much younger than us, starting way early, which means by the time he's our age, he will be like 1 million subscribers probably and all. So we got to stay in his good graces. I mean, okay. Dorothy said Banks in on a 4-year, $13 million contract. He's already wildly overperforming his contract. So here's the thing, though. It's not just the contract because he's a rookie. It's where you drafted him.
Yeah, I mean, Dorothy, by that logic, every rookie would overperform their contract because every rookie gets paid like a backup. They're on the rookie salary. So
we gave
Hudson first round pick.
$12 million.
For me, everybody's got their own opinions. For me, for a first round pick to live up to the contract or live up to the pick, they have, if they're a first round pick, of course, because if you're not, you don't have this option. They have to be worthy of signing on the 5th-year option. And if Deontay Banks is not worthy of signing on that 5th-year option, it ends up being a bad pick. So he's going to need a big year 3 for that to be the case, and certainly could be. We're going to find out this year.
Yeah.
And again, Hudson got paid 2 years, $12 million in the offseason. So does that mean that Evan Neal is performing based on what he should for his contract?
Yeah, no, you can't go based off that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Of course you can't. I mean, I wish you kind of could for their benefit to a certain degree for the players, because I do think the psyche is a big part of it. It's understated, but yeah. Sean says, I was born and raised in New York City, but I live in Delaware now, which unfortunately is Eagles country. Shake my head. Not smack my head. I said it right, Rob, this time.
There you go. Thank you. Back my head.
I think might despise the Eagles even more than Bad Dog.
I do. I think I do anyway. I tell the story all the time. By far, I'm a huge sports fan in general. I love my Mets. I love the Knicks. I love the Giants. Those are my 3 teams. But when it comes to my most hated team, it is far and away the Philadelphia Eagles. What was the year with the was it 2010 with the Deshaun Jackson?
I knew you were bring it up. Oh, yeah. I knew it was
2010. I was at a bar watching that game with my friends, and I at the time, I had a lot of friends still from high school that I hung out with. A lot of them were Jets fans, and my phone blew up when the Giants blew that game at the bar. I turned my phone off, and I didn't turn it back on for 3 days. That's how depressed I was after that game. I didn't want to communicate with the outside world. I didn't go on social media. I didn't turn my phone on. I showed up to work, and that was it. And I went home, and just that, I despise the Eagles because I think about moments like that. My biggest heartbreaking moments as a sports fan come at the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles. Atlanta is probably a far second in terms of my most hated, but the Philadelphia Eagles far and away my most hated team.
It's funny you say that too, because I'm in the same boat as you. And for work, I've been in the Philadelphia market for the past 2 years, and they recently put me to the Manhattan, Brooklyn, market. So I'm introducing myself to new customers that I've, and they're like, "Oh, why'd you leave Philadelphia?" I'm like, "I'm a Giants and a Mets fan plus a Devils fan." The Philadelphia area, like, how hard it is to talk sports out there. Flies. I have to hear about them talk about Barkley and Shaq. It's forget about it.
Yeah,
last game I wanted to shut my phone off for 3 days was the one Super Bowl we lost, and luckily there were no cell phones really like that back then. It wasn't like it is now. Yeah. So
the most gut punching moment as a Giants fan was that 2000 Super Bowl, because you go into being fairly optimistic. I mean, at the end of the day, you beat the Vikings, who were a great team that year, 41-0 in the NFC title game. Kerry Collins looked like he was Tom Brady, but midway through that game, midway through the first quarter, late first quarter, you're like, we're probably going to lose this game. But then you open up halftime with a kick return for a touchdown. And all of a sudden you look at the scoreboard, you're like, Giants are still in this. And then the very next play, the Giants kick off and the Ravens run it back for a touchdown. And I've never felt the air come out of my body more as a Giants fan than that moment. That was my biggest gut punch as a Giants fan. That kick return by the Ravens after we had just returned a kick for a touchdown. But that's what kick returns actually used to matter. They don't matter anymore.
Nope. It's like whose lines that points don't matter.
Yeah.
Let's see. Are you guys going to this Saturday's training camp? I'm also going to August 13th training camp, joint practice against the Jets. My first time seeing Giants joint practice first on the team. So I'm in Florida, so I can't go to any of them, unfortunately.
Oh, you live in Florida? Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
No, I'm not. I unfortunately work for the government. They don't. I unfortunately work for the government. They don't let me. They're not. They're boring. They don't let me take days off to go to training camp. But but the joint practice, that seems really interesting. That's something that I would like to go to in the future. That seems like it would be really cool, especially
that's a Wednesday this year. But I probably will not be. I have a date with the 4-year-old, and I'm taking him to his first wrestling and jiu-jitsu day. So.
Oh, nice, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Though I wouldn't leave with I have a date with the 4-year-old. I'm just saying for future reference.
Somebody's gonna clip that and try to cancel you. Yeah.
Next thing you know, Rob's photos on a library wall.
Call 911 and see this face.
Dorothy's got a question there about the Eagles again.
Yes.
Did you always? Oh, well, I'll answer the first one. Who's entertained all-time favorite Giant? That's easy. That's Eli Manning for me. Now I started watching the Giants right after the Lawrence Taylor era. I was born in '85. I started watching the Giants around '94. I think LT retired in '93. So I was like right after. Like I was the Rodney Hampton, Charlie Way. That was the first team. Tiki Barber was the first player I fell in love with. I named my dog after Tiki. Didn't love him after the way he treated Eli on the way out, but Eli Manning far and away my favorite New York Giant of all time. But I've loved a lot. Who?
Not Dave Brown?
No, not Dave Brown. Justin Tuck is number 2 for me. I love Justin Tuck, but Eli Manning is number 1.
All right. And the other question was, did you always hate the Eagles, even in the Cunningham days, or has the Eagles hate always been there?
You see, same thing. I remember Cunningham, watching football as a kid, but not so much with the Eagles. I didn't get to experience
the Viking war.
I remember him with the Vikings. I remember him. I think he played in a couple teams at the end of his career, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I remember he had that one really big year with the Vikings when they went like 14-2 or whatever they did. So I didn't really get to experience Philadelphia Eagle Randall Cunningham. I remember Rodney Peete with the Philadelphia Eagles early on. In the early to mid 90s, obviously Donovan McNabb, who was the starting quarterback there for a long time, but I didn't really get to experience the Randall Cunningham. But my answer would have been yes. I would have hated them just the same. I can't stand the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, and I did look it up for you. So he retired obviously in '96 after his career with the Eagles, then goes to play 3 years for the Vikings, then 1 year with the Cowboys, and then 1 year with the Ravens.
He didn't play much with those. Yeah, he didn't play much with those teams though. It was really just the Vikings.
That was in the post-Aikman years when they were trying to figure out who was going to be the quarterback, and they had like 10 quarterbacks a year for the Cowboys. Those were fun times, the Giant fan.
Oh, those were great times. Yeah.
All right, guys.
And then we walked into Tony Romo because we ended up hurting Drew Bledsoe, and he came into the game, and he ended up being a pretty good quarterback for them.
I blame Parcells.
How crazy is that? How crazy is that? Drew Bledsoe got hurt twice, and both times the no-name quarterback, not that Tom Brady was no name, but a guy that nobody expected to amount to anything, comes in who after he gets hurt in the game, and both of them become Pro Bowl quarterbacks, Tom Brady and Tony Romo. Obviously one a lot more accomplished than the other, but still pretty crazy.
Yes, I mean, it's absolutely insane how many Super Bowls they have combined.
You can say that about anybody, any player.
All right, combined, they have a very high number. All righty, guys. It is that time for our rapid fire here. We're doing now with guests here, guys. So those y'all have been on with the NYG 22 yesterday and Bobby Skinner last week know this, but for those who haven't seen it yet, basically what we're going to do is Rob and I are going to go ahead and just list the player's name. Entertainah has to go ahead and has got 30 seconds to give his thoughts on that particular player. We're going to go back and forth rapid fire section here. So let's get into it here. Rapid fire. By the way,
that's me at training camp. By the way, that was me at training camp.
We got to find some better pictures for you because I was looking for pictures for you for this thing. I almost feel bad using these pictures. These are not the best pictures. This man here. No, I did like the one. Did you see the thumbnail we made for the live show? I did like the one I found for that there. That was nice here with
That's me. That's me on a live stream. I was just making.
It's fantastic.
All right. Rob, you start her off.
All right. Thoughts on Theo Johnson?
I'm excited about Theo Johnson. I've kind of been underwhelmed thus far what I've heard in training camp, because I think Bobby actually tweeted it today. He said that Russell Wilson's only thrown like 3 or 4 balls since training camp started or something like that. But I'm excited about Theo Johnson, man. I think I think we started to see him get more of an expanded role in that offense last year, and then he got hurt. But it felt like to me that he was going to start to take off and have a pretty good second half for the Giants last year before the injury. And I think he could be what we were hoping Evan Ingram would become. I think he has the potential to be that. So I'm excited for Theo Johnson. I think he could have a big year for the Giants.
John Michael Schmitz.
Ugh. I'm about out on John Michael Schmitz. I was so happy when we drafted him because he felt like he was that plug and play center that we have not had in forever. And you're like, oh, now we don't got to worry about the left tackle. We don't got to worry about the center. Then we draft Evan Neal the next year or whatever. No, the year prior, I think it was actually, we drafted Evan Neal. So at that point, you're like, oh, now we got 3 spots on the line sewed up long-term. We've got a long-term right tackle, left tackle, and center. And it was kumbaya for me. I'm like, oh my God, we're finally going to have a long-term offensive line. And so far, the only one that's panned out, obviously, has been Andrew Thomas. And even you worry about, we didn't talk about him too much during the podcast, but the injuries with him. Is that going to continue to happen? Because we all know how important he is to this offense. If he gets hurt again this year, suddenly that becomes a pattern that you don't like to see. But obviously, we have trust in him. But JMS at this point, and I'm not closing the door, because as we said earlier in the pod about Jaylen Hyatt, year 3 players could certainly take a big step up. Gets to play another year with the same offensive line coach. He's got both guards that he played with last year on either side of him. A little bit more continuity. We'll see how he does this year. But he's been incredibly underwhelming so far as a New York Giant. So I am at best lukewarm on JMS, and I'm not very confident. I think we probably will be drafting a long-term center or a potential long-term center in the not-too-distant future. I don't think he's long to be a New York Giant.
Woof.
I hope I'm wrong.
Right.
I got to pause to ask one question. Do you think we might already have that center in Marcus Bowe? Because I've heard that rumor.
Well, people have said, yeah, but he's never played it, I don't believe. But I remember
right.
a little. Yeah, I know. Oh, did he? Okay, I know he played guard, and most people project in the NFL long term he'd be best suited to play guard. But I do remember reading that a lot of people felt like he could be a potential project at the center spot. That remains to be seen. We'll see, but maybe. If not, maybe we draft one next year or the year after that if JMS doesn't take that step up. What's discouraging to me with JMS, and why I guess I have a little bit less patience with him than I would for most third-year players, like I just said with Deontay Banks, I actually still believe he hasn't reached that level yet. He came into the league as a 25-year-old. He was an old rookie, right? Like you would think by year 2 he would kind of be hitting his stride already. Like, I don't know. And maybe he needs to be afforded a little bit more patience. But the fact he was an older rookie, and maybe it's just that I'm snake bitten with the offensive line, and I just think whatever's going to go wrong will go wrong. I have very little confidence in JMS going into this year. But again, I hope and pray he proves me wrong.
All right, talk about confidence builders. Let's talk about Singletary.
Singletary's like the forgotten man. Because I feel like Singletary's actually a pretty good running back. He played pretty well last year before Tracy got the opportunity and kind of took the bull by the horns. He's kind of like the forgotten man. By no means do I think he's an every down back, but he's a really nice piece to a platoon running back squad. And I think a lot of people forget about him. I think he is a good running back in the NFL. Not a guy you want running the ball 15 times a game, but a guy that you're happy if he's your RB3 that could give you 6 to 8 quality carries a game. So I think he's one of the most forgotten players on this team. He's still a good, solid running back in the NFL. And we go back to depth. Think about that. Devin Singletary is our 3rd best running back on this roster.
Yep.
Perfect. Yep.
Guy who consistently hit 800 yards rushing for how many years?
Yeah.
It's not a bad guy. I'm going to give you one of the Giants I keep hearing are very, very high on that I don't feel like other content creators talk enough about because of the fact that Giants seem very high on him. Darius Muasau.
Muasel, if I recall, actually had a really impressive training camp last year. I remember, right? Like he shined in training camp, and then of course we talked about it earlier. He had our only interception until like week 15 or whatever it was. Yet to be seen. You know, I've fallen for this trick before when the Giants have had I can't even remember the guy's name. Who was the white linebacker like in like 2018 or 2019 that everybody loved? Like everybody was acting like he was the second coming of like Mike Singletary, and then he fell off the map the next year and he wasn't a Giant. I forgot his name.
Blake Martinez or
Martinez?
I know the kid from, was he with Wisconsin? He tore his ACL and then he went to the Vikings after that.
Yes, he was like a 4th or 5th round pick. Yes, and everybody was like, thought he was like the second. He was going to be the long-term answer to the linebacker. So we'll see, you know, with Muasel. But again, we go back to depth, right? That's certainly quality depth there for the Giants. At this point, that's what I feel he is. I don't think he's a starter, but good change.
Was it Ryan Connolly?
Right. Ryan Conley. You hit the nail on the head. Yeah,
I'm Googling it. Google hit the nail on the head, not me, for the record. So, but we did have it in the comments here, but who knows if he Googled it as well? Who knows?
You guys are cheating at your trivia.
This is why I have 3 screens up at all times. You never know what's going to pop up.
All right. Wandale Robinson.
I was so excited about him last year. Going into last year, everybody was hyping him up. I remember CeeDee Lamb saying he was one of the most talented receivers in the league going into last year. And I was getting pumped up. I'm like, oh, wow, Malik Neighbors on the other side. I still like him, but I actually think of the receivers this year that he's like the forgotten man. A lot of Giants fans were flipping out when we extended him. I've never been in love with Darius Slayton. He's always been a quality New York Giant. But everybody's talking about Hyatt, not just you guys. A lot of Giants fans are talking about Hyatt because of his speed and the fact that he was a relatively high draft pick and a guy that a lot of Giants fans had high expectations for. And they seem to think he could take the step up this year. People mention Wandale, and I like Wandale, and I think in the right role this year he could be productive for the New York Giants. But I'm going to tell you what, the guy I got my eye on this year that I think could have a big year is Darius Slayton. We talk about all the limitations on this roster. Darius Slayton has had Daniel Jones his entire career. Now he gets to play opposite Malik Neighbors, second year in the NFL. They gave him a contract for a reason. He's going to be a part of this offense. And I think he's a good vertical deep threat. I think we could all agree on that. He's good at high pointing the ball. I think Darius Slayton could be in for a career year with the New York Giants, approaching 1,000 yards this year if he could stay healthy. So that's the guy I'm most excited about outside of course, Malik Neighbors in this wide receiving corps. But I like Wandale. But I don't think, unfortunately, he'll ever be more than a possibly slightly better version of a Cole Beasley, which isn't a bad thing. But I don't think he'll ever be anything more than that.
Tyler Nubin.
I'm excited about Tyler Nubin. Another guy like Theo Johnson last year who felt like he was starting to hit his stride, then he got kind of hurt late in the year. Ball hawk coming out, right? We talk about how this team lacked interceptions last year. He's a guy that you would hope and think could replace that Xavier McKinney role of being that guy that could get you 5 to 6 interceptions. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he had 5, 6 picks. Maybe it was 4 or 5 picks. His last year at Minnesota, that's what he was known for. A guy that was, good at making plays on the football. So he's a guy I'm really excited about for the Giants year 2. I think he could have maybe the highest ascension on that defense this year in terms of growth.
And I was going to give one more to Rob, but he's apparently having some internet
Rob had to go hang out with the 4-year-old. I get it.
Yeah. And it was 5 interceptions his last year at Minnesota for the year prior to that.
Yeah.
So he had 9 or 2 seasons. Yeah, that's not too shabby. All right. I'm going to give you one last guy then. And I'm kind of curious to your thoughts on this guy, because I feel like he's kind of had a little bit of a bum rap here in what's the Giants have done. I think they kind of Josh has him a little bit there by giving him too much. Nacho.
Quality depth, same thing there. Quality depth at a position where we need it, because outside of Dexter Lawrence, we don't have it. I don't view him as a starter. I would still like a and hopefully that's what Alexander becomes. I don't think we have a quality starter at that position right now, but I think he is quality depth, which again goes back to what I've talked about throughout this podcast. The Giants have a lot of good depth, at least for the Giants in recent history. The team is certainly much deeper than it's been in a long time, and he's a part of that. He's quality depth.
Yeah, I've always felt like we just put him into a role that he wasn't suited for. He's a backup guy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So, we got Rob back. Let's see. Okay.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey.
Where you had to have at least one more rapid fire. Did you have one more before you left?
Yeah.
One more rapid fire. Ooh.
I'm gonna tell you, and I this is boring, I guess, because I say it all the time. The most overlooked, biggest X factor on this team this year for me, undeniably, is Graham Gano. It's Graham Gano.
Ooh,
When you think back to the year that the Giants made the playoffs in 2022, we won all those close games. Without Graham Gano, that team wins 5 or 6 games. And you think back, because he was money from 55, 56 yards when he was healthy. The last 2 years, he's been hurt. And if they had that version of Graham Gano the last 2 years, we wouldn't have made the playoffs, but we probably win 2 or 3 extra games because of how close and tight these games are. If the Giants want to surprise this year and win 8 or 9 games, nobody ever talks about the kicker because he's boring. But we need the 2021 and 2022 version of Graham Gano if this team's going to surprise. So that's one of my biggest X factors this year is the kicker.
I just wonder what's going to happen. I've said plenty of times in the show, I'm not so sure he's our kicker this year.
I don't think so.
I was stunned.
Give me a start.
I was stunned that the Giants didn't draft a kicker, or at least bring in one in free agency relatively early to compete with him because of his contract and because of his recent injury history.
Yeah, Jude does not count point blank because let's be honest, the kid lost his job at Rutgers as a kicker. The only reason he's on the roster is because he's an international player. He doesn't count as a roster spot.
Oh, what was it? Platt Scummer? Remember him? He was the international running back that always made the roster.
Exactly. People are always like, "Oh, don't give up on Jude." I'm like, Jude, what? This kid couldn't hold his job at Rutgers. He's going to win the starting job for the Giants. He can't even get the job at Rutgers.
Yeah,
he's on the roster because
Jersey pride.
Like I said, it all depends, I think, on what happens, who gets cut, and who becomes available, and stuff like that, and how Gano looks. And it's a shame, but I think he's just kind of winding down to the end. Is basically what's going on with him. And I have a lot of respect.
He was great for a couple of years.
When we started the show in 2002, one of the very first episodes we had, we talked about, who we thought was the best Giant on the roster. And literally we were like, it might be Graham Gano.
He was so important to that team that year. I mean, because like I just said, every win that we had was within like 3-4 points. And he was knocking down 54, 55-yard field goals every week. So he was so important to that team.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said. And for the record, we never put the blame on him for what's happened with the injuries. That's on Joe Shane and Brian Dable point blank for not protecting themselves against his injuries, especially this last year. Point blank. That is not going Gano. Because I've heard people say that. Don't blame Gano for their stupidity. That's not his fault.
Especially, like you said, the second time around.
Yeah.
For them not to be more prepared the second time around was indefensible.
People are yelling like, why did he go after the player? Why did he do something that's been instinctive for him for most of his life?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
For playing the game.
You have a problem with that. Don't complain about Banks then.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can have your cake and eat it too.
Like, that's a good point.
That's where it's at. Like I said, I respect the man. I just think it might be time. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love for him to get another year and have the Giants do something good this year and go out on a higher note. That's for sure. But again, it depends, I think, on who becomes available. So let's see here. We got a couple more comments here real quick we'll go to before we head on out here because they're directed towards you, Tana. So
is it good?
Hunter, Tana, you need to go live on the channel more.
I will be, Hunter. Now that the football season is here, I'll be doing the live stream for the first preseason game. So I'm looking forward to that. And I will be going live. I mean, obviously I do the joint channel now with Bad Dog twice a week, but I will be going live on my channel in season. Obviously, I don't do this full time like I used to anymore, but certainly in season. Don't expect me there every day, like Bobby, who does this full time. But I'll certainly be hanging out with you guys, relatively regularly on the channel. I'm looking forward to talking Giants this year with you guys.
Yeah, Bobby's definitely
awesome.
hanging out at the training camp right now with a school bus.
It's like that's what Madden used to do, right? He used to go around in the Madden bus, right?
Yeah, that was legendary. Absolutely.
By the way, did you see they're making a John Madden movie?
Yes, and who was playing him? I forget.
Nicolas Cage is playing John
Cage.
Madden.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's really perfect because Nicolas Cage is the ultimate overactor. Let's be honest.
I'm a big Nicolas Cage fan. He's like either the type of guy that you love or hate, but yeah. I fully admit that he overacts. Like that's his MO. But he is perfect for John Madden. I think it's gonna be.
Oh yeah. You see,
you watch
yeah. What'd you say?
You watch Renfield?
Renfield, no.
You gotta watch that. He plays Dracula.
Oh, the Dracula movie. Yeah, I saw the trailers for it. I didn't see it though. Yeah.
First off, the trailers were the best parts. It's one of those movies that I'll tell you that up front. But it's worth it just for his overacting as Dracula. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's spectacular. It's
what was the one he did with Pablo Pascal relatively recently?
Oh. Was it the one where he's playing himself?
He plays himself. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He was really funny in that. I thought that movie was really funny. Nicolas Cage.
Does he overact as himself overacting? Like that's just like
probably.
That was part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where that meme comes from, where you just see like Nicolas Cage looking over, he's driving, and Pedro Pascal's like,
yeah.
Let's see. R0B, I'm going to say Evan Neal will be an unsung hero this season, and the O-line starts looking good. I'll be very happy if that happens.
I hope you're right, Rob. I really do, and I'm not ruling it out. We've talked about Eric Flowers throughout the pod. He actually became a good guard. The Giants were too stubborn to try it out. Hopefully it works out with Evan Neal. What I'll say about the offensive line, I don't know if I'm going to use the term good for the offensive line this year, but if Andrew Thomas stays healthy, which at this point is a major if because he has not been able to stay healthy in recent years, I think they will have a satisfactory offensive line, which is a big step up. Yeah, maybe slightly below average, but that's still a huge step up from what it's been in years past because the offensive line last year, when Andrew Thomas was healthy, which wasn't for very long, was okay. And I think it could be that again this year. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was the first serviceable offensive line we had in almost 10 years.
Yeah.
You can't go from a pile of poop to gold. Like there's got to be stages.
Yeah.
There's got to be stages.
And Drew and I have talked about this ad nauseum at this point. Like when you're ranked number 30 for so long, top 31 in the NFL is where we stood for a long time.
Top 31.
To go to the top, 17 is a big jump. Like we joke around about it, but it's a big jump. So like
if the Giants have an average
terrible to just below average, it's a really good
line this year, guys. The Giants might make the playoffs.
Playoffs.
I'm not
saying they're going to have an average offensive line. I'm not saying I'm predicting it. Playoffs. But this Giants defense is, I think, legit. I'm not saying they are the best defense in the league, but I don't think it's far-fetched to think this could be a top 7-8 defense in the league. Like I think they are a legit defense. If the Giants could have an average offensive line, I don't think it's crazy to think this team could win 8 or 9 games. I just don't necessarily think they'll have an average offensive line.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, but once again, if they're ranked at like 17, 18, which is probably like where they could be with Thomas healthy, like once again.
But can we trust Thomas to be healthy?
Well, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. You think about it. You think about the year we actually made the playoffs and had a good year in 2022. The one we talked about how Graham Gano was important to that team. The other thing, when you think about it, that was the one year where we had no key injuries. Andrew Thomas stayed healthy the entire year. Saquon Barkley stayed healthy the entire year. Daniel Jones stayed healthy the entire year. We had no key injuries that year. All of our key players stayed healthy. If we get breaks like that, the team could surprise. I mean, that in itself in the NFL is lucky when your best players don't get hurt. So that's a big part of it too, staying healthy.
Yeah, definitely. Deb says, good show tonight, guys. Love listening to Tana. Just subscribed on YouTube. There we go. We got you a subscriber. And we needed our help.
Well, thank you for tuning in, Deb. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. She's been with us forever, so she's good people.
She's an OG.
Yeah, I feel like she has been with us since like the first the first
How long you guys been doing this podcast now?
So we started
3 years.
August 22. So we're gonna have our
Well, that's right. You
3
said that earlier. 2022 was your first year.
and then we didn't start doing videos though. We were all audio only until like at the end of the 22 season. So we missed the one good season we were doing this for, basically for videos. So we were stupid. We didn't realize we should be doing videos. So you know it is the learning curve when you're first starting. Let's be honest. There's always a learning curve. I always tell people whoever wants to be a content creator, do podcasting. If you want the one word advice, always be improving.
I never did the podcast. I always only did the YouTube, which I probably should have done the podcast with the YouTube, but I always only did the YouTube.
You still can do the podcast, actually. All you do is take the audio from StreamYard, download it into like a Spotify for creators or whatever, and you make yourself one real quick, nice and simple.
I've thought about doing that in the past, is doing a separate podcast from YouTube too, like doing like a hour podcast. I've thought of it. I might end up doing it in the future. We'll see. Part of me wants to kind of do like a podcast where it's everything though, not just sports, like talk about movies, it's something that I've wanted to do for a while. I just haven't put it together yet.
There we go.
Yeah.
Got a whole Entertainah network here of shows.
You're right. Entertainah history, Entertainah movies, Entertainah sports.
There we go.
Entertainah trivia.
Entertainah trivia. I like that.
Oh, look, like YouTube trivia, like a live pub trivia. There we go.
Those are big now.
I do it all the time.
Those are huge. Yeah.
I do a lot of Tuesday nights. I got a group of friends we go with and do it like maybe once or twice a month.
So that's how you knew about the question about the Marlins in 1990.
No, I didn't actually. I know that because I live in the Tampa area and I heard it somewhere because John was here. So, like I said, I literally drive by the Bucks facility every single day because I'm on my way to work. So it's.
I'll give you a quick football trivia. Who is the first player in NFL history to have 1,000 yards receiving and 1,000 yards rushing in the same season?
First guy. See, in my head, I know I want to give an answer that's probably wrong, but I'm going to throw it out there because I'm trying to think old school guys who could be it, and I'm Marshall Faulk is who I'm thinking in my head.
He did it. He did do it. He was not the first one, but he did do it. He's one of like 3 backs that have ever done it. So he did do it. So good call there. Roger Craig of the San Francisco 49ers in the West Coast offense did it. Yeah, with Bill Walsh.
Yeah. I like I said, I had a feeling that Marshall Faulk was not the first to do it. I knew he did it, so I was trying to think in my head. Yeah. People forget about him.
Marshall Faulk was the best player on that team. Oh, Roger Craig. Yeah. I mean, well, of course.
Kind of forgot about him.
Yeah, Joe Montana. It's hard, there's a lot of players.
I get it. But listen, we still remember Carl Banks.
We do. He should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way.
Yes, 100%. Listen, we can do a whole episode on people who should be in the Hall of Fame of the Giants. We've talked about that very much. I bang the drums every single time for Jimmy Patton, 5-time all-pro safety, never even.
What about Eli Manning? What the hell was that?
Yeah, well, he should be. Coughlin?
Well, they should go in together. They should go in together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping. Listen, this is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping the two of them do get together next year. We get the the Hall of Fame game, which of course was going on tonight, and then we get to go have like a great experience in Canton, and Rob and I maybe do a live show from there, and who knows, maybe we kidnap Eli and put him on the show or something. Who knows? You never know. Listen, nowadays with this stuff, I'm waiting for someone who's going to be the content creator who's going to go to a Giants event and just start interviewing people live on camera. Like it's going to happen at some point. Someone's going to do it.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened, to be honest.
I really am too, because like even a couple of years ago, I went to the Giants game in Jacksonville, and Carl Banks was doing his post game cigar outside, and I couldn't believe no one's like flocking to this guy. I'm like, it's freaking Carl Banks. The goddamn guy should be in the Hall of Fame. Like. So I go up and start talking to him and everything, introduce myself, and I'm thinking like, God damn, if I had a mic right now with me.
The one thing I'll say about the Giants, at least from what I've experienced since I've been doing this, they seem to not be as open.
They're not.
They seem to be more open now to non-mainstream media content creators. I know they did like that. I saw it on Twitter, even though I've never heard any of the people. They did some kind of promotion for content creators.
We did a whole rant on that.
Yeah, but at least that's something. But I see a lot of other people that cover teams on YouTube, and those organizations are much more open to non-traditional media. The Giants are more old school when it comes to that. They don't seem to be as open to people like us.
So, and that's what we said, because they didn't, because to me, in our eyes, they should have gotten you and Bad Dog and Bobby Skinner and people like that. Listen, like Rob and I, we don't try to front and make her seem like we're the guys who get the most views, most likes, most subscribers like that. We have our space, but you guys, point blank, should have been the guys invited at that point. Oh, along with the guys they invited, you could have done both the people that are the typical, content creators.
I honestly, I didn't even know who those people were. Did they even do Giant stuff? I honestly don't know.
We don't. The only one that I know is Eli Mack, who does content work with Madden, but he happens to be a big Giants fan. And the only reason I really know him, to be very frank, is because if you know Sneaky G, he goes on his show quite often as well. I met him a couple times on there, and a really nice guy. And like as I said, I don't want to be the guy hating on these guys for getting that opportunity. That's cool. I'm excited for them. But the Giants should have gone ahead and invited some actual, Giant content creators as well and shown the love in that respect as well.
Yeah, I was surprised. Not that I wasn't invited, because I don't really do this full time anymore, but I was surprised when I saw the names that I didn't recognize any of them. Like you said, Bobby would have been the first name you would have thought of, or even Justin, right? Or
I think it's a lack of trust.
Yeah,
they're working one of us.
Bobby had something. He did something, right? That pissed off the Giants last year. I forgot what it was. He did something.
When he was on the old show, they did an episode on Shane, and was it Pat Hanlon who called him up? Somebody called him up. I forget.
I think it was Pat Hanlon.
But they called him up, Woody, and told him to take the episode down, or they'll never help him again. Now I know also, and I don't want to throw names out there.
And I actually agree. I disagreed with Bobby on that point, which was an unpopular opinion at that point in time. I think 90% of Giants fans were in agreement with Bobby, but it's ridiculous for the Giants to try to block him from talking about the football team. It's ridiculous.
First off, anybody who knows Bobby, and actually gets a chance to talk to him off, the show and stuff like that, who he is on the show is who he is in person.
Oh yeah.
Like you want to.
I've gotten to hang out with Bobby several times. He's exactly who he is on the show.
Exactly, he is what he seems like, and he's that guy that if you tell him he can't do something, guess what?
He's going to want to do it more.
Go ahead and do it more, and he's going to tell every single person and their mother that you told them not to do it as well in the process.
I was supposed to say, didn't he go live right after?
He did. And kudos to him on that, because he should have, because the Giants don't do anything for content creators. Not that they owe us anything major by any stretch of the imagination, but I know, like, even on Giants Rush, they've talked about it, where they've said that they were told by players that the team told them point blank not to go on shows.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really tried to reach out to. I've gotten some ex-players there. I've had Carl on my channel. I've had Lawrence Tynes on my channel. I've had, no, I don't think I've ever had any current players on the.
Maybe had a couple of current on there. That I don't know who does their booking, the Giants Rush show, but they get some good.
They do. They get some. Yeah, they get some good people.
You had Mike and McFadden on a note not too long ago, a couple months ago.
A couple of times I've seen.
Yeah. So he does it, but like I said, the Giants they've said on their show point blank that the Giants have told the players not to go on their show.
I get that in season. I could understand that in season, but in the off season, I feel like let them go on the fans' channels. I don't agree with that.
I can understand wanting protection. I can understand saying don't go live, get the right to edit anything out or stuff like that. Like you could do that kind of stuff. And I've said before on our show, we would have no problem doing that with a player. We would just announce point blank that this is what we're doing by asking, because I don't want to be like fake and make it seem like we're hiding things either. You know what I mean? But I can understand wanting stipulations, because you are putting, when you're an NFL player, it's a multi-million-dollar brand. I get that part of it.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful, because someone says the wrong thing and you're on camera with them saying the wrong damn thing.
Especially in New York. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, because the newspapers could run with it, right? So I get it, but I feel like they should do a better job with content creators. But
exactly.
Hey, I'm not doing that.
Maybe one day.
Both sides are right.
It's one of the many ways that the Giants are very old school, and we appreciate the tradition, the history of the team. Obviously, we're fans, but you also got to roll with the times.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
You can do both. So
Rob says, are we excited about Hard Knocks again this season? Me personally, no. No. I don't. I was at first excited when they did the Hard Knocks, the way that the Giants did it last year or 2 years ago, whenever it was, because it was an interesting format. It wasn't like the traditional Hard Knocks where you just get to see the players behind the scenes. You actually got to see the inner workings of a football team. But the taste it left in my mouth after the fact, there's almost nothing good that's going to come from it, only bad. It's almost like getting to see the way a hot dog is made. You don't want to see after the fact. I just want to eat the hot dog.
I do like.
So that's how I felt with the Hard
You know,
Knocks.
my biggest concern is with the Hard Knocks thing is we've talked about it multiple times where we think, everybody's having a discussion right now is when would Dart start, playing football? Because barring anything crazy, miraculous, like a big playoff run at the end of the season, you're probably going to see him the last couple of games.
I think that's the plan. I think that's the plan. And I think if they're smart guys, the plan with Dart should be not to throw him in there until like the last 4 or 5 games, because that also preserves Shane and Dable's job. If you throw him in there week 3, week 4, we saw what happened to Pat Shermer when they threw Daniel Jones in after just 2 weeks. If the team's playing really bad, what hope do you have to sell the owner? He just got to see a full year of that quarterback. Team didn't play well. If you only show a sprinkle of Jaxson Dart at the end of the year, which I think is clearly the plan. They didn't sign Russell Wilson for him to play 1 game and bench him. I think that's the smart approach for Shane and Dable. I think it almost guarantees that they come back next year outside of something catastrophic like we talked about earlier, like if they have the first pick. But if the team has the 5th or 6th pick and Dart looks even okay the last 3 or 4 weeks and you feel like there's something to build on going into next year, I think that's a great I wouldn't say a great job, because you're not happy if you have the 5th or 6th pick as a fan, but a great job security for Shane and Dable if that scenario plays out. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
But my concern is, like we've said all along, I think the best time to bring him in would be right after the bye week. You got a couple weeks left over. You give him the bye week to prepare. And here's the problem. That's Hard Knocks.
I don't like that.
That's what I'm saying. That's the problem. Hard Knocks, I believe, is in December. So that puts you square in the middle of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I don't like that. I was actually focused on the play. Yeah.
I don't like that part. And that's what's got me most bummed about this whole Hard Knocks thing. What I am hoping for is that the Cowboys completely fall apart this year, as I fully expect, and then you get to see Jerry Jones like having a tantrum on Hard Knocks. That would be spectacular.
That would be great.
That would be spectacular.
Ideally for me, though, Jaxson Dart doesn't see the field this year, because if he doesn't see the field, it means the Giants likely make the playoffs.
Damn straight.
That's ideal for me. As much as I want to see him, and I'm excited to see him, I could wait a year.
Patrick Mahomes kind of rookie year, like you see him maybe the last game and that's it.
Yeah. And then show me him next year. See what we got next year. I think what the Giants are going to do next year, assuming Shane and Dable are back, which obviously I'm assuming right now, I think they're going to do a reverse of what they did in free agency. This year in free agency, they went heavy defense, right? They went corner, they went safety. They drafted an edge early in the draft. I think it's going to be, it only makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, Joe Shane's job, he's going to live and die with Jaxson Dart. I think next offseason, they go balls to the wall on the offensive side of the ball. I think they sign a high-end wide receiver. I think they draft the right tackle probably in the first round. I think they do everything they can to sew up that offense next year and give Jaxson Dart as good of a chance as they possibly can for him to succeed going into a sophomore season. I think that's going to be the plan.
Yeah, I know. That would definitely make sense. You got to set him up for success. Don't set him up.
That's what it feels like they're doing that, right? They're giving him a buffer. They're not rushing him in week 1. It feels at least like they're handling it. Yeah, multiple buffers. Yeah.
Multiple buffers. I love that. I love that they did that. I said all along, what I think they're going to do with DeVito is try to get him on the practice squad, and then let's say, God forbid, Russell Wilson gets hurt, and you got to throw, Jameis Winston out there. You can call DeVito up to the backup, and you don't got to worry about forcing Dart where he's not ready. Assuming DeVito makes it through the waivers and all that kind of stuff and decides to come back to our practice squad. But
we all heard the audio that Dart said. I think it came out after we drafted him, but there was audio that Dart said that his ideal mentor would be Jameis Winston.
Yes,
and I'm sure the Giants took that into account when they went out to get Jameis Winston. So yeah,
yes, who is just primed and ready for that Fox Sports.
Oh, that's 100% has a lot to do with why he wanted to come here in the first place.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
I still love. I still love that TikTok that for him that goes around every so often where he learns about gabagool. It's a gabagool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God! Listen, if you can't root for that man, who could you root for? Seriously.
Oh, he's impossible not to root for.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, we wanted him last year. I'm very excited we got him. I wanted him last year. Like
I would have been fine if we didn't get Russ and we just got him, and we went with him and a rookie quarterback. I would have been fine with it.
We have said the same thing on the show.
Banging that drum so much.
Yep, exactly.
Give me Winston. Give me Winston.
There's a lot of bad sound clips coming from you out of the show, Rob. I'm just saying.
Do you listen to yourself?
Yeah, listen. This might be the episode you want to listen to afterwards to see how things went. All right, guys. Well, that's gonna call it a night for us. Entertainah, again, man, appreciate you coming on. Do me a favor before I know we put the link in here before, but let everybody know where they can find your work there.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Entertainah Talking Sports. I'll be doing the live play-by-play this year, like I do every year for all the Giants games outside of Week 1, because I'm actually going to be doing a live meetup with Anthony Rivardo that I have to do a much better job of promoting on the socials, which I'll probably do the next couple of weeks. So we're going to
just
some
did
music.
it. You just did it.
I just did it. We're going to some musical festival in New Jersey. I have no idea who's playing, but he asked me to come and do some kind of live watch event. So I'm good friends with Anthony. We do a Giants channel together. So looking forward to that. And then obviously you can find me on the channel every week calling Giants games. So appreciate you guys for being here. I'm like, it's my channel. Appreciate you guys for having me. And, I had an absolute blast. And, once again, I apologize that I wasn't able to make it on Monday, but
you're good.
Thanks for happening, man.
And like I said, you're definitely one of the solid dudes in the Giants content world. I mean, I'll even tell people, I blow people's spot up all the time and they're nice to us. It is what it is. So like last time we had you on, I think was it 2 years ago? I think like it was our first year of doing a video.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago. I think.
And you sat back with us afterwards and gave us advice and stuff like that. And like I said, that shows a lot of character because that was off camera. Like there was no BS like that. So like I said, we appreciate good people and we will call them out publicly, even if you do the stuff like that behind closed doors, because there's a lot of people that aren't very nice in this world, and point blank, the ones that are should be, it should be called out and congratulated that they are good people. So we appreciate you, man. Because I remember the advice you gave us that stuck with us was the off season. You'll have plenty of people take time off. Don't take time off. Keep hitting.
Yeah. Well, that's why when I first started, that's how I grew. I went hard in the offseason.
We got 1,000 subscribers in the last year.
Listen, man, I always found, and I appreciate that, man. I try to be nice to everybody. I try to help out everybody. That's a big reason why I took time off on Twitter. It just got too toxic for me. I don't like fighting with Giants fans. I like to get along with people. And when I first started on YouTube, the Giants community was very toxic, very toxic. Like, not that anyone was really mean to me, but nobody really worked with each other. And at the time, I didn't know if I was going to do Knicks or Giants. So I actually started doing Knicks content when I first started on YouTube, because it was kind of after the NFL draft, before training camp, summer league for the Knicks. I started doing Knicks content, and the Knicks community was so welcoming. Like the biggest Knicks channels, I went on Knicks Fan TV, who obviously has a massive channel now. Like he's on like SNY all the time. I had like 10 subscribers. He had me on his channel. I went on NBK, nothing but Knicks, like some of the biggest channels. And then I got to the Giants community, and nobody wanted to work with one another. And I always said, I'm not going to be that guy. I always want to try to go on, anybody's channel. I don't care if you have 10 subscribers, 1,000, 10,000 subscribers. I think too many people look at it like competition. For me, if I'm doing well and I'm bringing more people to YouTube, it's only going to help everybody else. And that's the way that I've always looked at it. I'm not cutthroat. I just try to, help people out and talk to Giants fans that, I respect.
Yeah, we're coworkers. We're not competition.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, you said a couple of times that people that you see in your chat regularly in our chat as well. Like that's what it is. We're not competition. We're people community that have the same fan bases, though yours is definitely on a grander scale than ours, but same fan base at that point there. And, you get the same exact people. And that's, I know there's a lot of people that watch our show that love it when we have people on they like as well, because kind of like they watch both shows at once at that point. So always a good time having people on there. Like I said, we definitely appreciate you coming on, man.
Of course, man. Anytime. We'll do it. We'll do it again sooner next time.
Oh yeah. So well, guys, again, we're gonna be back on for you guys Monday. As always, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, we are live on YouTube, the preferred platform here, as well as, of course, Facebook, Twitter/X, Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite,
Drew's LinkedIn profile.
my LinkedIn profile. And of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones. Again, guys, if you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share, tell a friend about the show, because we suck at marketing. If it wasn't for you guys, we would have nobody watching whatsoever. One person started watching the show, told the second person, we got 2, turned it to 4, and that's how this thing kept on growing, guys. We appreciate you guys for helping out. And again, if you haven't already, hit the like, subscribe, and share for Tane as well there, because again, good guy and good content there. Appreciate you guys for watching as always, and as always, Giant fans, go Jaylen!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please.